Jack, why do you insist on doing this dumb internet shit on TV?
I look and see, it's not just me.
This place is a fucking joke, man. You're a clown. I quit.
So many of us have stood where we stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. So many of us have stood where we stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. They call us problem child. We spend our lives on trial. We walk an endless mile. We are the youth gone wild. We stand and we won't fall. We're one and one for all. The writing's on the wall. We are the youth gone wild.
No. It doesn't make logical sense, but it makes.
Well, yes, of course.
But it makes wrestling booking sense. Of course, this makes no sense. Of course, okay, it makes no sense. However, in pro wrestling booking, which often makes no sense, you would do that. It's about making money. It's not about anything else. Wrestling's always been about making money first and foremost. That's it.
Yes! I look and see, it's not just me.
Last weekend was the greatest weekend in AEW history. This is the greatest week.
I look and see, it's not just me.
Security, my safety, my life was in danger at a wrestling show.
So many of us have stood where we stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. So many of us have stood where we stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. They call us problem child. We spend our lives on trial. We walk an endless mile. We are the youth gone wild. We stand and we won't fall. We're one and one for all. The writing's on the wall. We are the youth gone wild. They call us problem child. We spend our lives on trial. We walk an endless mile. We are the youth gone wild. We stand and we won't fall. We're one and one for all. The writing's on the wall. We are the youth gone wild. Get wild! Yay!
If you're familiar with how we do things often here on these Wednesdays, it's a lot like one of my favorite movies, Time Cop.
What? Fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah!
Yay!
Ooh, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the 200th edition of PWT Live Show. I am your host, the infallible Phil Marks. Welcome. It is another Wacko Wednesday here at PWT. It is the 200th live show, man. I can't believe it. It's absolutely incredible. Also, we surpassed 100 PWT podcasts as well. So that's over 300 shows. That's not even counting run-ins and whatnot that I've done since the inception of this and this channel. And absolutely amazing. Round of applause for the PWT universe and all the support. What a journey it's been. Absolutely incredible. I was like, what do we do for the 200th show? Right? I want something special, but I also just want to do the show, right? I don't like, we're going to fucking pat myself on the back, right? We're out here grinding. This is only the beginning, folks. We've only scratched the surface. But then Tony Khan went on Ariel Helwani yesterday, and I was like, well, there's the show right there. I mean, so that was awesome. Tony, definitely the best guy.
Guys, Tony Khan.
And speaking of journeys, journeys come with changes, and there are some changes coming here to PWT. Nothing major, but as people file in, and I will reiterate this later on in the show as well, but as people file in, PWT live show, this will be the last one. Simulcast, HBO Max, Time Cop. No, this will be the last one simulcast to the prowrestletimes and the Clips channel. From now on, the live shows will only go live on the Clips channel and X and Patreon, which I'll get to in a second, okay? Now, on the Times channel, do not worry. Every time I go live, I'll make a post on that channel with a link. Just click that link and it'll take you right to the Clips channel. But make sure you're subscribed to both, or the Clips channel, whatever, right? And then on Patreon, you know, sometimes I'll play a clip from TNA and then Anthem snipes me. Sometimes I play a clip from fucking WWE and then I'll play like a Stephanie McMahon's podcast, like a clip from that. We get sniped. And it's because these companies use AI. I'm not like giving anyone shit. You know, we make fun of Aubrey Edwards. We get Don Stevens. So all of the live shows from here on out will be on Patreon as well. Like unedited, uncensored, unedited and uncensored. Yeah. But yeah, it'll be like the shit, you know, because after the live show goes live, sometimes I got to clip shit out. So they're going to stream directly to Patreon. And then like so patrons get like the un-YouTubed version if you don't catch the show live. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Am I making this clear? And that's my shill to start the show. Okay. To start, that's Phil the shill. So just make sure you're subbed to Pro Wrestle Clips. Follow me on X. And consider checking out Patreon, man. I think it's well worth it. Lots of like extra content. And then, oh yeah, member shows. If you guys still simulcasting. Don't worry. Times and Clips, memberships get you the same shit. If you member on Member Monday, only 99 cents. You guys don't worry. The member shows stay the exact same. I'm still streaming them, right? The way I have been. But just as far as the live shows, concerned. And the Christmas special, PWT podcast Christmas special. I'm going to drop a pod before that, at least one, but the Christmas special incoming. And then in the new year, I'm coming in hot with a vengeance with PWT pods. And I'm going to start like pulling guests and shit for those. You know, I don't ask people. I just like doing my thing, like doing my own thing, you know? So hope that's all clear. Everyone's filing in. We're getting to 100 there. Man, we got super chats rolling in. Wow. Thank you guys. Plenty in pixel art for 20. My good guys. Again, you can super chat in. You can become a member. You can gift a membership this holiday season. And I do weekly bonus shows as well. And those are always fun. The last two were fucking so fun, I think. And so make sure you tune into those. But Plinian says, happy 200th, man. Thankful to have been part of the universe, to join you on the journey. Let's show some hype, PWT. Man, thank you so much. I really appreciate your support, Plinian. And behind the scenes, Plinian is always such a help to me. He's great to go to with questions about shit, because I am a noob, believe it or not, you know? So thank you so much. Ken Dudley for 20 says, it's great. Like Ghostbusters. You like Ghostbusters, right? Oh my God, I can't wait. Guys, Tony just bestowed a gift for the 200th episode. Now, I was like, we're going to EFAP the whole interview. Ariel, or Ariel, as Brendan Schaub would say, went fucking an hour and like a half with him. So I was like, you know, I'm just going to watch the interview, and then I'm just going to, whatever clips go up on the Twitter feed, I'll grab those and we can go through excerpts and whatever the fuck. That was the easiest way to do it. But I listened to it in full prior, and it was actually a really good, well, we'll get into it. It was actually a really good showing for Tone, but obviously I have things to break down. That's what we do here at PWT. But yeah, the Ghostbusters thing, that was awesome. Sometimes at Dynamite, I'm Venkman and Brian Danielson is Egon. It's great. Then on Collision, I'm a Winston and someone else is Slimmer. It's great. It's the Great Marshmallow Man, bro. It's so funny. We're gonna get into. Thank you so much for your support as well. And then George Capture for 20 says 200. That's great, Phil. That's great. You're great. The show is great. Yeah, dude. I saw someone someone grabbed a screenshot and sent it to me of someone in the chat. Being like, we're at 118 greats or whatever. I didn't watch it live when it went down. I watched it after, but congrats and thank you for allowing me to be a small part of the PWT machine. Yeah, it's not even really a machine, bro. It's just, I'm just talking shit. That's really all it is, right? These damn machines. No, for real though. Thank you so much, dude, for like modding every fucking show. I really appreciate it, keeping these motherfuckers in line. And then Lincoln Hawk for 20. Goddamn, says 200 down and a ton more to come. Congrats on the enormity of your success. Thank you. Much love, my guy. Thank you, bro. His success, it's like the Yate. I don't know. I'm trying to thank you so much. Round of applause for everyone who's appreciate you guys so much. And I acknowledge
me.
And to infinity and beyond, as the kids say. Am I right, guys? No, we're warming up over here. Okay. We have lots of people in chat as well. Like, I think I'm seeing new names and stuff. So welcome to the madness. I think we're at over 100 across X and YouTube. So I'll begin things. Where do you guys want to start? I think because this interview with Tone was so legendary, just because anytime he gives an interview to someone credible, it's legendary. And I think because it's what everyone wants to talk about, we need to do AEW news first, especially because Dynamite's about to come on in 45 minutes. And I think it's a long Dynamite too, chat. So it is 3 hours long. So I came on an hour before. So this will be a 4-hour show at least, so this will be awesome. Hit like. Hi, Phil. Love the show. Thank you. Mods repping strong. Yeah, thank you, Lincoln, as well, for just everything, bro. You already know. It was his best interview, but that's not saying much. Yep, you're right. Tony said you like Ghostbusters. Ariel, it was yeah, not anymore. You're doing great, pal. Miles ahead of me. Are you talking to me? Have a Holly Jolly Philsmas. Thank you, Lucy. Member show was early 2 weeks in a row. Phil doesn't want to watch Raw with us. No, I just thought I'd switch it up. So we just got in a lull of just watching Raw. And then it's well, what's the show? Because when the member show first started, I was just doing regular Wednesday, Saturday shows. But I was I don't want to do that. I want to do that on Wednesday and Saturdays. So the member show, it sort of fell into we're just going to watch Raw. And then sometimes I'll still do news and stuff, But I just I don't know. The member shows have been more fun, I think, the last couple of weeks. But we'll watch Raw next week if you guys want. Just let me know. We're going to talk about this Raw. It was awesome. But either way, JD's reaction to the interview was great. Yeah, I didn't watch his video. I will check it out. He dropped one today that's oh, Tony the con man. I know a thing or two about a con man. Oh, go. So, yeah, War Games is heating up. Let's start with AEW, though. I think that's the way we got to do this, okay? Especially today, because we got a lot of Tone clips. Okay, Steamboat Tone. He wasn't on a boat this time. I wonder if he sailed to New York there to meet up with Ariel. But we're not going to start with the interview yet. I want to save that. We always save the best guys, Tony Khan, for the end, right? I want to do some more just random miscellaneous AEW news. You know what I mean? Roster stuff, some sad stuff, unfortunately. So everybody in the chat all together now. Ichi Nissan da. Because it's time for AEW news on PWT 200. The 200th time we've done this together, folks. Amazing. So in sad news, and we need all the good energies you guys are sending my way, send some the way, or Rebel's way. Okay? Because Rebel revealed she has primary pulmonary lymphoma, a cancer in the lungs. Rebel also has a functional neurological disorder, taking away her ability to walk. And we were all damn, where's Rebel? Where's Rebel? She was awesome. Her and Britt Baker were awesome. She's dealing with real life shit, man. So send some prayers and energies her way. And yeah, she's fortunate to work for a guy like Tony Khan, who will hopefully help her take care of all of this, as well, as far as making sure her and her family's all good. You know what I mean? And yeah, just God bless Rebel right now for sure. So in other news in other terrible news, depending on who you ask, is a stiff transition there. Mercedes Moné defeated Nor Phoenix Diana for the APAC Women's Championship. She's 13 belts Moné. Of course, Aya was going to take the APAC championship from that bitch. Upstage of me with a promo. For real, dude. Monet obviously was going to win that belt. That we watched the promo. She's Malaysian, I believe, right? A Malaysian pro wrestler. Am I off on that? Right? Her name's Phoenix Diana, and we watched her promo, and I was like, she cuts a better goddamn promo than Mercedes does. This is wild, you know? And people were making fun of this match like it was in a gym or something, but you got to realize for that Phoenix Diana lady, that was like the biggest moment of her young career. And I don't know. I'm not trying to, like, yes, the Monet thing is cringe, but also like we should give props to this Diana girl. I don't know. Was the match good? Good for her for making waves and having like a solid promo and making people care. Like, I don't know. I felt like some people got behind her there when it came to this one. Like, they're really bringing someone in from the other side of the planet to fucking lose to Mercedes. You know, it's this dynasty's running strong. Ultimo Monet, right? You know what they say, chat. you know what they say. Hey, Phoenix Door. You know what they say.
Sometimes in life, you got to be a hoe.
So, sorry, I added some new sounds, so some of my sounds are in different spots. Speaking of that match, here is some highlights from it. And it was at HOG. I don't know if JD was there. I'm over here now. How about Gunther getting his new theme back, too? Or his new theme back. His old theme back. Pardon me. How about Gunther getting his old theme back now? Spectacular, hey? It's better than his new one. His newer one or whatever. And then, like, the crowd chanting Walter at him. We're going to get into WWE. That was an amazing Raw. But Saudi Arabia's speaking of the other side of the world, Saudi Arabia's public investment fund has bid to purchase Warner Bros. And that's via Puck News. And I don't know, man, if the Saudis own 5% of AEW, that's going to be hilarious. There's going to be a bunch of sickos, like, deleting tweets and shit. Because that's going to be embarrassing as well. Yeah, they are. So Ariel pointed out during that interview with Tony Khan that we're going to get into in a bit that, like, I guess AEW is the only major sports company that doesn't have some sort of deal with the Saudis. And Tony Khan's like, I didn't realize that, but he would take money from them in a second. I hope everyone realizes that. People always say, well, we'll get into it in the Tony interview, but people bring up like the ticket prices. Well, they're more friendly. Dude, AEW was getting accused of gouging like 2 years, not even 2 years ago. People were like, what the fuck? What are these prices for these shitty shows? Right. And I mean, Tony would charge $180 for the cheapest seat if he could. He just can't do that, you know? It's supply and demand. So I know that's a good narrative people like to push, and I would push it too. Hey, man, you got to sell your shit, right? He's got to shill his shit, man. He's got to carny up his stuff. So if that's what he's pushing, I'm okay with it, but I'm just pointing that out, right? I'm allowed to call that aspect of it out too, right? Like he would take the Saudi money. You all know that, right? So Ricky Steamboat says he didn't care for the women's blood. Speaking of taking the money, Ricky Steamboat says he didn't care for the women's blood and guts match. And he said too much went on it. You know, I think the women's was better than the men's. Maybe I was just looking forward to the women's way more than the men's, and that's why I thought that. I'm just being biased that way, but whatever. He says, I don't know. They had 16 girls in there or something like that. There's just too much going on over in this one corner. 2 girls are doing something, 2 or 3 girls doing something in the middle of the ring. Yeah, Ricky, that's what wrestling is. 2 people doing something over there. No. Then you go to the other ring and 2 or 3 girls are doing something. You couldn't focus on anything because there was just so much going on. And for me, it's hard to react. I bet you he would have the same criticism for this this women's war game 5-on-5 coming up too. So don't get mad at Ricky. He's just old school, dude. And yes, he'll appear in an AEW ring. He can still take Tone's money and be critical of the goddamn company. Hopefully Tony doesn't cut him off. And one thing we learned from the Ariel interview is like, Tony says it. Yeah, I was willing to talk to you because like you started saying nice things again. You said some really nice things. And so it was like, yeah, I'll come talk to you again. It's like, what the fuck, man? That shouldn't be the only reason you give interviews to credible people if they kiss your ass, you know? But either way, Will Ospreay says, the bar was too high right now, bruv. The bar's too high. I jumped over it, bruv. It's so high. It's so high. Me and Darby jumped off it, bruv. For ex-WWE stars that want to just walk into AEW. And he says, go out and prove to other people, bruv. You're wanted and desired. My heart goes out to all of them, bruv. It should never be assumed that, oh, I got let go here, I can just walk in AEW. Nah, bruv. The bar is too high now. So he's saying the bar wasn't high enough before, when the company wouldn't exist if it wasn't for like ex-WWE guys. You know, it wouldn't have had as much hype as it did if it wasn't for like Moxley leaving at the right time, Rhodes and Jericho being a part of the inception of it. It's like, I don't know what this guy's smoking over here. I'm high right now, bruv. The bar's so high. I'm high, bruv. So AEW, speaking of being high, man, AEW filed to trademark Watch AEW. AEW, where wrestlers work, and we want you to watch AEW. So are they going to start going hashtag Watch AEW? Like, what is this about? Maybe it's, I'm sure it's just part of like some marketing where the best wrestle, you know, it's just part of some marketing campaign for AEW. And yeah, they're gonna, I don't think this is gonna work though as a slogan. Just watch AEW. Why? Because same with those promos, the commercials we watched where it's like where wrestlers work or whatever. It's just people sitting around doing nothing. And it's like, well, why would that sell you on watching wrestlers on a TV show? I don't know. We're jumping around a bit back to that Mercedes Monea APAC championship match. Here was her entrance. She's like, Jay Adia, you can carry one of my belts. Okay, fine. You can work here, but you gotta carry one of my belts.
Sometimes in life, you gotta be a hoe.
And then they knock the thing over. Almost kills Mercedes Moné. And then she just has to pose and be like, well. Here's the thing. This is the argument. Like, I'd love to, we should ask a Grok. No. Okay, the argument of her and Ultimo Dragon. Yes. Monet has more belts. Okay, she's technically got him beat and everyone else beat there. Did he like revolutionize and change the industry and the business? That's what she claims she's doing. Indies are seeing an uptick from Monet. That's undeniable. But it's not like, oh, they're drawing. It's changing the landscape of anything. It's admirable. She's actually doing what she said she was going to do, too. At least when she left WWE and talked shit, she was like, I'm going to go wrestle in Japan. I'm going to wrestle in the Indies. And she's doing that. She is doing that. So, like, I give her props for that. But, like, is it changing the landscape of pro wrestling? And then did a guy like Ultimo Dragon, did the J Cup or whatever with the 8 titles that combined, did that change the landscape of pro wrestling? I think it ushered in people taking like cruiserweights and light heavyweights maybe more seriously. but I think that was an inevitability. I don't know. It's just interesting to think about, but like, what has she really done? Has she elevated women's wrestling? I mean, she did as Sasha Banks for sure. Has Monet done that for the indies? Maybe. I don't know. That's up for debate, man. Chat can let me know. You guys debate it in the chat. But yeah, there's Mercedes. She almost gets glommed in the fucking head by a curtain rod or whatever. So breaking Drain Bamager, breaking news. AEW is coming back to Esports Stadium in Arlington, Texas for a month-long Collision residency in January 26. Collision should be a fucking YouTube show that's a residency all the time. Different residencies in different places, only on YouTube. Again, they're adding another third hour to this Dynamite, and it's the go-home show for Full Gear, right, which is coming up, and that will be on Sicko Saturday. And I don't know why you'd give us a 3-hour wrestling show right before the 12-hour wrestling show we're about to watch on Saturday. I don't know why you do that, but it's because they don't, Collision just moves around. It just goes where it's a nomad. It's a vagabond. It just goes wherever it's needed, I guess. And I believe that we will see Dynamite possibly go to, I don't know, like when the Saudis get in the mix, we don't know who's connected to WWE. WWE's connected with like pretty much everyone. And so we don't know who's just going to like look at AEW and be like, fuck this. And then people are saying it'll just go to Amazon, which like maybe, okay. I don't know, cut a deal with YouTube or something. You got a YouTube show. They used to have their YouTube presence on that Dark Elevation show. I mean, there was so much potential there. Either way, though, in January, to start the new year, they're doing a residency again. Now, some people will clown this. I'm being optimistic here, okay? I'm hopeful for Steamboat Tone. But, like, this is a good look because I've encouraged them to do this for a long-ass fucking time. And they should just keep doing residencies. I would do residency. I would stay in the UK. Maybe just do Collision out of the UK for 2 months. And just start building like an audience and shit, I would start getting innovative and thinking of shit like that. Not that that's even innovative. That's just like what you would fucking do. But for Tony Khan, who's limited clearly in his ideas and what he's willing, like in that Ariel interview, he's talking about ROH getting a TV deal. It's like it doesn't even have an identity anymore. We need to put it on YouTube for a year and then pitch it, Reality of Wrestling did that. What the fuck's going on? NWA did that, dude. Like, figure it out, man. But yeah, I actually applaud them for doing a residency, but like, don't start lying about how much tickets are being sold and how the interest is the highest it's been and shit. Like, don't fucking start. Tony does a lot of assuming. We're going to get into it, but he pulls a Meltzer where he just assumes that because things like the NFL have seen a bunch of their audience go to streaming that that applies to AEW. No, every other metric, it's low, it's shrinking. It doesn't, you can't assume it's right. Like the NFL's doing huge numbers. You look, it's the biggest sport. You look everywhere, it's doing huge fucking numbers. Everywhere it's got a fingerprint. You can't apply that to AEW. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't do that, dude. Now, yes, are there people watching on streaming? Are there people who switched over? Yes. But, like, you did the lowest rated Collision in history. So you think what? Everybody who used to watch it stopped and went over there. Then why are the houses smaller? Why are you doing more residencies? Why are you selling less tickets and shit? That all has to be accounted for as well. And also, the streaming thing came at a time where you can track the trend of like, okay, shrinking, everything shrinking, all-ins, the lowest attendance that an all-in is, like, it's shrinking. And then like the streaming comes along and fucking all of a sudden we're supposed to think there's not shrinkage. It's just everyone went to streaming. Like, no, you have to just be critical about that. But Tony doesn't have to. People are like, oh, he doesn't admit. It's like he doesn't have to in that interview. He's selling his product. He's trying to rep his shit. Of course, he's not gonna say shit like that about his own shit. That's Ariel's job to bring it up and confront him with it. But we'll get to that. So Ricky Steamboat again says AEW is a first-class operation. Sees how Tony Khan does a lot for talent. First-class operation, I think. I know Tony Khan does a lot for the boys. When I first talked to Tony a few years back, he said that he wanted to do the wrestlers like the way his dad does football players. Pause. And that is with any kind of retirement plans or hospitalization coverage and stuff like that. Just talking to a few of the wrestlers backstage, and they say, yeah, he takes care of us. It's real good. I mean, I believe it. Moving along here. Kyle Fletcher says there's not a fucking chance Logan Paul is better than Will Ospreay or Kenny Omega. And again, Fletcher's going to stick up for his friends. But listen, wrestlers are upset by this truth because he just walked in and made it and is able to do it. And it makes people think there's going to be a lot of people who think they can just do that in pro wrestling. And we've seen it, dude. Look at the outsiders who've come in. Even some of the old heads are criticizing that, right? When it comes to like the Rajah Jackson incident, for instance. Maybe that's an extreme. Maybe that's like one end of the spectrum. But, Logan Paul, he's really fucking good he's light years ahead of where he should be in pro wrestling. And he figured it out. Like his calling in life, I believe, with all the YouTube shit, the ability to make people hate him, the sort of putting on a facade. Like clearly Logan Paul's always had this, like, I'm a character, dude. Like he's always had this thing up. He's just a character. He's not even a real guy. I would love to know what he's like as just a real person. You don't see it on his podcast or anything else, right? And he found pro wrestling, dude. That's like his calling in life. There's a lot of people who like work really hard to get good at wrestling. Like a Maxine Dupree, for instance, like she has to work her calling in life is being hot and athletic, like there's multiple avenues for Maxine. If she's not in WWE, she'll figure it out. She'll be fine, right? She'll land on her feet. Maxine Dupree, though, has to work hard at being a good pro wrestler. Logan Paul doesn't. It's just like, and he does work hard on top of that. That's the thing. He does work hard on top of that. I'm not discrediting that. He works hard at pro wrestling on top of that. And so, yes, it's hard for you. It's a hard pill for you guys to swallow. But yeah, here's the thing with Logan Paul, man. And I'll even give this to his brother, Jake Paul. They're both very determined, strong-willed. They made YouTube money and they invested it in whatever the fuck they chose to. And they parlayed it into becoming fighters and pro wrestlers and shit. And that triggers some people. But listen, you can't discount like their hard work, their determination, their drive and shit. Challenge Logan Paul to a G1 and see if he doesn't blow everyone away with what he does. I bet you he could do it. I bet you he could. Because that's what they say. Oh, well, Kenny Omega, if you look at the body of work and like him going through a whole G1, or like Will Ospreay wrestling each different guy in a G1 without touching them like all year round. That's what Logan Paul's already doing. You guys got to understand, he doesn't get to practice with Roman before he just goes in his second or third match and has a title match against Roman. He didn't get to practice in that triple threat with who was it with, Orton and Drew? What was that triple threat? He didn't get to practice with those guys. He probably didn't get to touch AJ Styles a bunch before, or whatever the fuck, right? Like some of these people he's wrestling, it's not like he's on the road with the bronze every week. Now that, so I bet if you challenged him, he would greatly exceed everyone's expectations in a G1 climax tournament or whatever the fuck you sickos are marking out over. Yeah. Is he better than Bruv or Omega? He's a better promo. He's a way better character. He's got way more heat. Now, do you want to break down like the moves and the technical I think Logan Paul can do every single goddamn thing Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay can do in that ring. I believe that. Does he? I will say though, like, is there? Could they teach him things? Sure. I think for sure they could, just from the reps they've put in. Like anybody who's put in those type of reps, like they're gonna have some information to spread. They're gonna have some knowledge, some shit you can absorb. But I don't know, dude. I think Logan Paul will surpass them in the history books when all's said and done. I believe that. Just as far as like status, he hasn't even won a world title yet. Wait till he starts winning world titles. People get real mad, you know? Wait till he turns, how old's Logan Paul? I don't even know, but there's always that pro wrestlers have this thing where they always like fall in love with the business again, sort of in the latter part. They're like, oh shit, I get it. And then they have this thing that kind of clicks in their brains where they're just like in love with it again and they come back in the best shape. We've seen a lot of wrestlers have this. Wait till he gets bitten by that bug and he's just like on the road. He's just showing up places like Cena and shit, you know? Like we have lots of years of Logan Paul left and he's already in the conversation. He's already has AEW wrestlers having to debate it publicly in interviews, whether he's in that conversation or not already. So, I mean, I think that answers the question right there of whether, you know, the fact they're bringing it up, that should be more than enough evidence that he's at least in the conversation, right? So, Twisted Metal has been renewed for season 3 at Peacock. Shout out Samoa Joe. Here's Tryon Bryan talking about just giving some information on who helped the ladies gig themselves at Blood
Sometimes
and
in life,
Guts.
you gotta be a hoe.
Where's my goddamn Brian? So yeah, here's John Moxley, I guess, was the gig master here.
Sky Blue bleeding everywhere. There's so
Which, by the way, Sky Blue's fucking t-shirt where she's bloody and then it's like, oh, blood runs blue or whatever. Good concept, actually. Good idea. Good little slogan, blood runs blue. However, every time someone gets bloody, they make that, get our bloody shirt. Get our bloody shirt, bro.
Blood. I assumed.
It's like, no, you can't do that to every person who fucking gets a gusher. You know, you can't do that to every single person. You can't be like, here's their bloody shirt. It's just like, what is this? Make that someone's identity, you know? Or like have someone run with that.
Had to be fake.
I heard
Baker gets a black eye, put it on a fucking shirt. It's like, okay, we get it. You guys really hurt each other.
that Moxley made like a bunch of gigs for everybody, and it was just like one after another. I don't know if every single person on the show had one, but it seemed like everybody had one. There was blood everywhere,
especially in the women's match.
This was a great, violent match. It was the first ever women's Blood and Guts. They wanted to make history. They wanted to outshine the men, and they went out there and had a hell of a match.
Yeah, it was good until Monet and Shafir stank it up. And so Brian Alvarez also had this to say. We'll circle back. Well, no. Let's get to it right now. Might as well. Brian Alvarez had this to say, and he goes on a pretty epic rant here about how like Tony Khan is just booking for sickos. So like either you accept that or don't. And true that. You know, that's all I've been saying.
Why does Tony book his national wrestling company like it's an indie show?
Because, it's his money.
I understand.
And this is what he likes.
I understand.
It's just like this show. It's my show. I'll do whatever I want. He doesn't care. He likes...
I'll do whatever I want. I'll faux outrage over NXT and get triggered by Ava. Just because. I'll do it.
It's a problem.
He likes wrestling matches. That's his favorite thing. And so he books wrestling matches. He thinks of a bunch of matches he wants to see. So he books backwards to do angles in matches.
Well, sometimes.
To set up other matches.
Sometimes he just throws matches out
there. Or he just throws matches out.
Yes.
He likes matches. He likes wrestling and he likes belts.
But if he's the
More
only
power to the guy.
Yeah, more power to him, but you can't then get triggered, or you can if you want, but like there's no point in becoming one of these sickos we all see online who are mentally fucking deranged, which he addressed actually in the Ariel interview. But you can't get mad if people go, that's fucking dumb, and that doesn't work at the scale that everyone's trying to convince us that they are at or going to be at if they continue this direction. We've seen other companies do this exact same thing. They're called Ring of Honor, which he now owns, which is virtually non-existent now. Why? Because of the shit you said. So, yes, Tony, that's great. We all understand this. So again, Brian, this is another Trying Brian epiphany here, right? Where he comes to this like realization that we've all, this conclusion we've all come to a long time ago. Like, yeah, he's just booking for him and sickos. That's the thing, bro. That's not sustain. That's just going to be a money hemorrhager. Not that you can't book for sickos and internet folks. Not that you can't give them a little bit of this and that, right? But you got to also book for like the mainstream wider audiences. MCU did the same thing. People and the MCU started falling off because they stopped. They just went too sicko. Like no one wants to watch Ironheart. No one read those books. No one gives a fuck. I'll watch Ironheart team up with Iron Man and shit, but that's a background player. You know what I mean? We don't want to watch that shit. Don't make that a show. And then they lost the plot. Where the fuck is Shang-Chi and Moon Knight been? They've been missing. They're on fucking milk cartons missing. We don't even know where they are. Same thing with AEW. Where's Camille? Where are these fucking people? You know what I mean? It's the same thing. So you could apply that same logic. It's like, yes, book for the sickos. Like give us the deep cuts, but at the same time, you got to like think of the greater picture. If you're trying to compare yourself to WWE, which people forget, AEW spent the first 4 years just nonstop, their wrestlers and Tony talking shit about and taking shots and bringing up and comparing themselves to WWE and saying that they'll beat Raw and shit like that. That's what they spent like 4 years doing. So yes, the fans are like, no, you're dumb. Take your L. They still won't take the L. We got to pretend that these shrinking attendances and shit are somehow comparable. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make fun of it. I'm going to make fun of people who are delusional too, because it's funny, because the internet is funny. And go get mad, but like, save your fucking angst and shit. Like you're not helping AEW, white knighting, standing for it. I bury WWE just as much as I bury AEW. I post clips of it. They get no fucking views, right? I still post the clips of it. You guys just don't seek it out. Any triggered sicko who is like mad that people make fun of AEW, anybody, pick a fucking character in the IWC, JD, any of these guys who fucking make fun of AEW, pick one. It's like them hating on it. Everything gets hated on. So like WWE's equally getting hated on just as much, right? Just drop the comparisons. Just don't worry about it being, or don't, like whatever. Defend, stick up for your shit. That's all cool. But it's like, who's paying you guys to do that, right? Like if most of my opinions on AEW are shit, it's because, isn't that a reflection of what's, just like most of my opinions on SmackDown for the last how long was like, I was kind of souring on it, and it's the shittier show. The tickets sell less than Raw. The TV viewership's down low. We can apply the same thing. Okay, the shittier show's doing the shittier number. Why can't people just understand that about AEW? Like, just accept that aspect of it. Stop comparing it. Stop trying to cope and pretend like what he's doing is going to do anything greater than it has been doing. It's not gonna. Okay? The hype in the beginning was good when they were telling stories, when they were more sports entertainment-y. It was at its peak. Let's just be honest. Why? Because it's a television fucking drama pro wrestling show. That's what people want to see. It's pro wrestling. It's not a drama. What are you... Go tell that to wrestlers, that they weren't building drama. Go tell that to any wrestler, any style. that they're not trying to tell a story. Like, come on, it's for the TV show. The TV show's the commercial to sell the pay-per-view. You can still have great matches, and you don't have to get rid of your YouTube shows, or maybe you do. That's the weird thing too. Why won't he do a show on YouTube? What the fuck is going on with that? Is WBD like, no, you're not allowed to? I have no clue what's going on with that. We'll talk about that more in the Ariel interview. Anyways, though, Brian Alvarez, to bring it back to what I'm saying, this epiphany, we all understand this. Yes, he's just going to book for who the fuck he's going to book for and himself. But stop getting mad. Stop like making up, stop like, or I guess not Brian. Brian's maybe not doing this, but like Dave Meltzer, Brian's dad, is fucking like lending credibility, I guess, if Dave has any credibility left, credence to like BJ Bethel, who's just saying dumb shit, dumb, impossible numbers about what the streaming's doing. It's like, why do all that? It just makes people clown it harder. You're hurting it. You're making shit worse. We know he's just booking for himself. Someone's got to convince him to stop fucking doing that as much. That's just all it is. If he wants to be like, you're a challenger to TNA. You're a challenger to MLW. You're a challenger to NWA. You got GCW should be lumped in there. MLW, maybe even HOG now. They're doing some crowds. Maybe that's what, you should be lumped in with. In the beginning, WWE, sure. But
if he's the only one that cares about it, he's not going to sell tickets.
Who cares?
He doesn't care about that. He's booking the matches he wants to see.
That's a bad business plan.
Because here's the thing. He is booking for sickos like himself. The rest of you, fuck you. Either you like it or you don't.
It's fine.
That's the way he does it.
Yeah, but the problem is when people get mad that you can't say, well, that's fucking dumb. That's a stupid way to do business, and that doesn't even make sense. And then why doesn't he just do this in his backyard? I'm sure billionaires have whatever. Like, just you're a billionaire, do it on your super yacht, do it on the Kismet. Just have wrestling matches in your backyard. Put it on YouTube. Like, why are you? It's just this thing where you'd think someone like Dave Meltzer, who's called so many other money markish type people out, like you'd think he would, as a wrestling historian, Brian, he would like want to let everybody know, well, Tony Khan sort of just bought his place in the history books. It's like this weird altering of wrestling history that we're doing where like it just seems artificial. And when people point that out, dude, then everyone shut the fuck up. I don't have to accept or think that that's cool or a good way to do business, or, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have to think, I don't have to accept that. I can be like, no, fuck that, as a pro wrestling fan. Okay, that's what you do on the indies. This the big leagues now. Okay, you got to do the big league shit.
Tony book is national.
That means the Hulk Hogan's, the Bret Harts, the Shawn Michaels. You got to spice it up a bit. You know what I mean? The Stone Colds. What? Stone Cold. What? Right? That means, like, as O'Shea Jackson Jr. said, you got to Hollywood it up a bit. That it requires that. He wants to do his own thing. I'm fine with that aspect of it. And I say this all the time about AEW. If you just isolate matches, yeah, they're good. If I like, here, just watch this match, and then I just put on a match, but as a Dynamite television show, it's shitty. Both things can be true. Why can't everybody accept that both things can be true? Because the world is fucking insane. That's why. To answer my own question there, Phil S. Marks. So moving along here, I see some super chats. Let me check those. We got a couple more, and then we're going to get into the Steamboat Tone stuff. So David Ellison, CEO of Paramount, is now partnering with Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi himself to try to acquire WB, prepping a whopping $71 billion deal package. And then apparently I saw other people say Variety got their shit wrong on this. Who knows? That's just pretty much the Saudis are getting in the mix, and where there's smoke, there's fire. So AEW Collision, speaking of smoke and fire, AEW Collision garnered its lowest 18-49 rating in show history, tied with two other episodes. Collision averaged 219K viewers, down 24% from the prior week. Remember the sickos saying AEW's winning every week because of the key demos. Remember they were trying to cope and do that like a week or two ago? And then all of a sudden, boom, the bad karma comes back, kicks them in the ass. This show does its lowest key demo in ratings history. Not that it matters. Not that I even give a fuck. And not that we should give a fuck, because I thought ratings don't matter and everyone's cord cutting, so who gives a shit? And all the streamers use different key demos, so whatever. But again, you want to play this game, we'll play this game then. It just comes around. Fucks you guys up. Gives the sickos the worst fucking key demo. They want to talk all this shit, don't show up to watch the show. Collision averaged 290K viewers, down 24% from the prior week, with a 0.03 in the 18 to 49 rating, down 50%. Damn. As noted, 18 to 49 was the lowest in show history, tied with 2 other episodes. This audience was the 3rd lowest in history for its regular time slot. It was the 7th week in a row that the show scored under 300K. Exactly. So why not stick it after AEW Dynamite? Like it's just dying. It's cold. It's dead. It's lifeless. In its original time slot, every time they don't put it on Thursday or after Wednesday recently, what happens, guys? It fucking just dies and sets a record, sets the bar for its lowest number. So again, you better shape up, do. You gotta understand. Tone, you let us down. What can I say? You're breaking hearts over here. Okay, let me check on the chat real quick, because I see there's some super chats in. Guys, thank you so much. It is the 200th episode of PWT. Absolutely incredible. We're going to get into all the Tony stuff before Dynamite starts here. Fat Factor Creation. Fat is not a factor for you for 10 says, congrats on 200. Here's some Dave debunk. Claims Okada is Tanahashi's greatest opponent, Brian. The Naito feud sold more. Actually, if you studied and learned, except Dave dismisses Naito, even though, he's outsold Hichisaro and Okada. And because inside NBC, inside Bullet Club, inside Japan since 2015.
Learn, baby, learn. Meltzer Inferno.
Fat Factor, thank you for spitting facts. We should change your name to Fax Factor. Get it? We're having fun. And yeah, I mean, he just doesn't study the business at all. And we fucking acknowledge you. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really, really
acknowledge me.
Chris McCarty 7128 has been a member for 7 months, man. If AEW was the only wrestling company, I would rather watch men's figures game. Oh, come on now, Chris. You don't mean that. That's not very fair. Come on, dude. Osprey can do a triple plie, a triple sow cow. Denisha has been a member for 17 months. Holy shit. Thank you. Phil, TK is doing a live stream now. Please listen. On it. We're on TK Woucha. Where are we going here? Let me pull it up. So, guys, now that we have there's over 200 watching on X and YouTube, hit like. I made this announcement at the top of the show, but episode 200 here, this is the last time we'll be simulcasting on HBO Max. Time come. No, it's the last time we'll be simulcasting on the PWT or Pro Wrestle Times and Pro Wrestle Clips YouTube channels, okay? For the live show. Member shows stay the same, so members, don't worry about that. And sometimes, when I get hit by Anthem or I get hit by Don Stevens, or sometimes, WWE's bots get me for whatever the fuck. And it's not a big deal. You just clip it out or whatever the fuck. But or I just leave it yellow and go, whatever, you guys super chat me and that you guys support that way. But on Patreon, that all of the PWT live shows starting now, so at 2:01, they'll all go directly to Patreon as well, and then they're the YouTube uncensored, unedited versions. Okay, the not safe NSFW, the lewd, crude, and rude versions on Patreon. I guess they will remain perfectly intact for you guys over there. So not a big change. And on the Times channel, just make sure you're subbed to the Clips channel, and I'll always drop a link. You guys click that. So if you're watching on Pro Wrestle Times right now, consider coming over to Pro Wrestle Clips channel. And don't worry if you like going on Times, there'll always be a link posted. You'll get the notification You just click that one. And yeah, that rules. So here, I'm going over to Tony Khan's. That's my plugs. Those are my shills. Check out Patreon, guys. I've been dropping a bunch on there. So where's Tony Khan here? He's got a new live. We will bookmark it. It's a lot of tone, though. It's 5 minutes. That's a lot of tone for one day. So maybe we save it for Sicko Saturday, right? We'll double up. Maybe he'll give us a two for there. But yeah. What else is chat saying? It's episode 200. You better show your love to Phil. Thank you so much. Yeah, guys, hit like. I hit like 10 times. Yeah, just keep hitting it. I think I think that's best for the algorithm. Just click it, then click it again, then keep clicking it. It's Tony Khan. Tone. Yeah, over 220 watching. So run those likes up, guys. We can hit 100 likes for the 200th episode on the Pro Wrestle Clips channel. Okay, for sure we can. Even if you're hate watching this shit, run that shit up. Okay, so let's get in. Yeah, we have Tony. Okay, so Tony Khan. This is a segment within a segment, and it is called "The Best Guys." Tony Khan.
Wrestling's not fake.
And so Tony Khan, man, not Tony Khan, man, but Tony Khan, man. He did this interview. He went back on Ariel Helwani show, and Ariel Helwani infamously had a horrible interview with Tony Khan like a couple years ago, where Tony Khan, like, they were on Zoom. He was choking on water or whatever he was doing. I don't know. He's watching a fucking Osprey match and he lost control of his throat or something. And he just started like, you know, he was like choking on air for a second. And then he just wasn't answering any questions whatsoever. And it was incredibly funny, memeable. I'm sure we watch clips of it here on the show. I mean, it was like a historic moment in Tony Khan lore. And so they linked up to do it again. And recently, you know, some AEW wrestlers like Darby Allin and MJF and some other folks have appeared on Ariel Helwani's show. And I've pointed this out when it comes to Helwani. I'm like, dude, he's not a TKO shill necessarily. Like, yeah, he's got friends over there and shit, man. But he, as was revealed during this interview, he has friends in AEW as well. He knows people who work behind the scenes there and stuff, so, like a few people. And Ariel tries to get it, like, he's getting indie people on and people who just left WWE, and he's just trying to get everyone on. It was Tone who was keeping people off of Busted Open and off of Ariel Helwani show. And again, Tony, this is the one thing people are overlooking. No one's really bringing up. Like, if you watch this interview in full, it's revealed that basically the only reason Tony went on this show is because Ariel's been saying nice things. And some of his wrestlers went on and he said nice things to them. And him and Maven said, Maven here. And between 2003 and 2005, I had the best job in the world, being a WWE wrestler. So now that Ariel's saying nice shit, Tone's willing to come on the show now. And he's willing to have more wrestlers on this and allow them to. And Ariel sort of reveals that. He's like, yeah, we should get more of your wrestlers on too. And Tony's like, yeah, I mean, we'll do that. And it's like, whoa, dude. So he was keeping them off of this fucking show. And he was keeping them off Busted Open. And even when Tony went and did Busted Open, it was one-on-one with LaGreca. And obviously, when someone's right in front of you, you're not just going to be a dickhead to them. But Ariel didn't throw him any softballs. Now, did he tiptoe and give a politic answers? Yes, man. Yes, he did. He's fucking carnying. Carnies are going to carny. This was his best interview appearance for sure, because we look at all of his terrible fucking awkward interview appearances. Something happened. And I have a theory, actually. I have a conspiracy theory that Tony Khan has like tone bots. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, this is great. And, you know, when you see him tweaking and he's just like a zombie, or he's like doing these awkward on the Kismet boat promos that we EFAP here on the show, and he's like low energy and just babbling for 20 fucking minutes about nothingness. And by the way, shout out Ariel for being able to reel him in and like keep because Tony was going off in the weeds. But I think Tony Khan has like clones, dude. Cloney Khan, the best guys, Cloney Khan. I think Tone's got clones, man, because like, what are all these Tone bots we're seeing at these pressers when he's being weird and shit? It's like he sent out a clone or he sent out a Tone bot to this interview, or this is the real him. I don't know. That's a joke, obviously, but listen. I thought I'd get more out of that. I don't know. Tone, the thing with him here is he was focused. He wasn't all over the place. He wasn't so twitchy and spurgy. He wasn't like super tired from doing whatever the fuck else he had going on that day. He offered Ariel more of his time. He kept trying to get over the fact like, well, I've answered all of your questions and I haven't really shut down any. And I hope that, because it's all about controlling the narrative. That's fine. That's a Vince tactic, Tony McCann. It's all about like, it's all about the game and how you play it. But truly, it's about, you know, it's about like him just carnying it up for his promotion. That's why he goes on here, to promote his promotion and to spit the little factoids that you could spin as a positive. That's what everybody's going to do. So I don't get triggered by this. Did Ariel press him like a fucking sicko or a wacko on some of this shit? No. Did I want him to do that? I don't know, man. I don't think it really called for it, because they did address the awkwardness between them previously. And he did ask him everything. Did Tony tiptoe around? Yes. Were there lies in here that we're going to nitpick and dissect and make fun of? Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. So the first clip, Tony Khan discusses the decision to air the video footage of CM Punk's altercation with Jack Perry. So we're going back in time here. If you guys remember when Tony Khan aired the video that made him fear, the altercation that made him fear for his life, allegedly. Okay. And I don't know where my time travel sound is. Fuck it. Yeah, I added too much shit. But yeah, we're going back in time here. He addresses him airing the CM Punk footage. Okay.
I'd be remiss if I don't ask you about the CM Punk story. Do you have any regrets about how that was all handled? Obviously, he came on the show. There was that big interview, and then you guys played that footage.
Everybody check out the Ariel Helwani show. Shout out the boys in the back and Uncrowned.
Looking back, are you at peace with how it all played out, or do you wish things could have been done differently?
Well, there were so many things. So I,
like the playing the footage. Did you think that was the best move in response? Because it felt like that was in response to the interview. Unless I'm
to your interview,
that's what it felt like.
It's interesting because I do think that I didn't necessarily agree with the description of.
So the first thing I'm going to point out, Tone immediately. Now this is all out of order. This was later in the maybe halfway through the conversation. Notice what Tony Khan does. He goes, "Oh, you thought it was response to your interview." And then he does not confirm nor deny that it was or was not. Do you know what I'm saying? And then he just goes, well, I figured that. And he does that throughout the interview. And he, again, really he doesn't give real true answers. And you'll notice it throughout this. I expected that, though. This is exactly what I expected. I expected it to be less awkward as well when he invited him in studio. I was like, okay, they've clearly squashed shit.
That I didn't necessarily agree with the description of how it all happened.
So that was your way of
these
showing
are fake glasses, by the way. So according to Husey, all right, which by the way, he put on an amazing podcast on his channel the other day. Holy. But allegedly, Tony Khan got mad because Husey was like putting him with these dorky glasses in the thumbnails. So he got mad at Conan about like, I don't actually need glasses. So these are like the fake Drew Carey glasses. Like those are prop glasses that he wears that he doesn't need.
Oh, not necessarily. And by the way,
because he got the LASIK surgery or whatever.
I really think you're a great interviewer, and I very much appreciate it because we've had a very, very good interview, and I think I've been very good to answer all the questions
you have.
so far. And now you've got me where I'm enjoying talking to you so much. You've really got me hooked in. So I want to answer your questions, even the challenging ones. And I didn't necessarily agree with everything that was said in that interview about how things happened, but also
Okay, so he did say in that interview. So there you go. He does address it, but sort of in passing. Like he just won't say, yes, it was a response to your shit. He just won't say that. He just sort of dances around it. Very political. Tony McCann.
it's a TV show and it did a very strong number. And if you look, it was.
Are you talking about the video response from you guys?
Yes.
Okay.
So for many
Yeah,
reasons,
yeah.
I think
No,
that
it's-
it made sense, and it was a thing that was advertised, and
hot
it got a
shot
lot of
book,
attention. That
epic
did a
fail.
very strong number, and also it's in the eye of the beholder.
It was such a fucking fail. It did a strong number, bro. Not. And then what happened the weeks after? And where are you at now? Can't even tickle that number anymore.
Just
Was
like
there anything he said that you want to now refute?
I think the tape spoke for itself, and I think that I didn't agree with how it happened. And obviously, it
The tape
was
spoke for itself. I mean, I feared for my life, and that table got wobbled in front of me. They spilled my drink. It was horrifying.
a major part of why.
Tony literally cried over fucking spilt milk. The tape speaks for itself. He should have asked, well, you said you feared for your life. I mean, the tape didn't. It showed. The follow-up to this should be, well, Tony, you know, the tape showed pretty much, and there's videos of this online, like Punk in the interview, step by step, it happening exactly as he described it. What would you say to that? I mean, it seems it was over. You know, you said you feared for your life. It seemed as though that was overblown a little bit. That should be the follow-up. Ariel doesn't follow up like that. And again, he's probably got a million questions, and I don't expect, like, when you're there just interviewing someone. And here's the thing, too. Ariel at some point, these are clips. So at some point in the interview, he's like, dude, I'm not trying to do gotchas. I'm just throwing out, like, this is what everybody's been talking about. And he also was going to get Tony out of there like 30 minutes into the interview. And then he's like, no, I'll stay with you. And at the end of the interview, Ariel's like, your PR person's going to be mad with me. Like, Tony was actually good with his time. And Ariel took more time with Tone than originally allotted, seemingly, for the in-studio interview, right? They went almost an hour and a half. So I think Ariel was just trying to get each question out. He's not going to sit there and nitpick like I would do, or a sicko or a wacko would fucking do. He had Valentina Shevchenko coming in after her fucking title fight in MSG. And he's got Tony Khan there for, you know, he held on to him for like an hour longer than he was supposed to have him. Right? So I think that's why Ariel didn't just like press him on shit. I think, and also, let's be honest, Ariel's channel needs the boost from pro wrestling right now. Having AEW people and shows like this react to the clips from his show and shit is going to, I mean, get more wrestling fans watching his shit. Let's just be honest. Anyways, we're spending a lot of
Things
time.
were no longer able to continue with us, even though I would have liked to have been able to. And it's clear that I wanted to reconcile and do those things. And
You wish that maybe like by him leaving and then showing up on WWE like 2 months later, that was a huge boost, right?
I think really for us, we've had a great run for 6 years. And if you look at the time before,
not great for 6, but okay.
Phil came
I mean, I guess maybe that's subjective, but he keeps saying, if you look at before Phil, who, me? Not you, you. Who, you? that was funny the other day. Anyways, call back. It's a good time here tonight. PWT 200. Hit the like. So, Tony Khan keeps like saying throughout the interview as well. He's like, well, before Phil Brooks came in, shit was better, but he won't just say that, you know?
And if you look at the time before Phil came to AEW, we were having a great run and we had some great times together. But we've been on a great run and we're having this great year right now with this roster. And I think this is the best roster and the best AEW locker room. And it feels like in and out of the ring, the combination of them, this is the best we've been. But I also think that we had great times together. And it was clear when we started doing Collision, I wanted to reconcile and find a way to still do those things. And I guess that wasn't possible, but I didn't necessarily agree with everything.
Did you learn any lessons? Because one of the things that he said in that interview was
face. Did you learn any lessons? What do you mean? What do you mean? That's for the thumbnail. Oh my God, we're fucking clipping that right there. What do you mean learn something? Me? No, he is genuinely thinking about, like, did I learn something from all of that? Yeah, don't lie about fearing for your life in that instance, maybe.
Because one of the things that he said in that interview was that, like, and I hope you don't think this is coming from me.
Sure.
I'm paraphrasing that, like, you don't stand up as a boss. You let people kind of like walk all over you. And so that felt like
And someone says in chat too, like the Young Bucks did a victory lap in the ring. Exactly. You guys fucking took shots and let EVPs of the company take shots at it directly. You're a fucking goddamn fool. But again, is he supposed to go in there and go, I'm a fool? And is Ariel supposed to go, you fucking dumb fool? You let the Bucks do victory laps and you do. No, bro, no. And he's got limited time, and Tony extended his time with him. So I think he's just trying to get as many of the important questions, I think, because he rattled off names and Tony was answering each of them. I actually did appreciate that aspect for sure.
Indictment on you as the leader of the company, which is what you are. And so I'm wondering what your response would be to that.
I don't agree with that, but I also think that
but for the people being like, who could see this interview? There's people like, oh, who could see this interview and wish failure on the company? And I agree. Like, I don't wish AEW failure or Tony Khan to fail or anything, but I don't have to support it. Tony Khan can call people Harvey Weinstein. Do you see Harvey Weinstein's career? What happened to him? Man went to fucking prison. He's calling WWE Harvey Weinstein. Is that not an attempt to hurt their business? You goddamn crybaby IWC fucking marks. Like, holy shit, man. You guys are soft, moisty nutsos, okay? His intention is to fucking hurt that company. So people are going to do the same to him. Why is it okay if he does it, but other people aren't allowed to do the same to him? It's just ridiculous. Stop fucking crying. And yes, I agree. I don't want AEW to fail, but if someone does, who fucking cares? You want WWE to fail, more than likely. And then they justify it. Yeah, but like MAGA Saudi Arabia bikini contests. And it's like, all right, what the fuck? You got in AEW, you got women chopping their heads up and fucking making out and slapping each other with pork chops on their butts and stuff. The fuck you talking about? Shut up. You know what I mean?
Entitled to their opinion, and that's feedback, and it's fair if that's how he feels. But I didn't agree with the description of the way things played out, and that's okay. And that's all in the eye of the beholder. Just like the whole situation, if you see the way it came out, it all was in the eye of the beholder, and that's okay. I think AEW is doing really well right now, and I'm really happy with what the people on the shows are doing. And it wasn't the first time that he and I disagreed about something, and it may not ever be the last, and that's okay. But I had tried to reconcile, and I wanted to find a way for everybody to be able to work together, and that didn't work, and that's okay. And it seems like everybody's happier and doing better right now. I know in AEW.
So I would follow up and say, well, why didn't it work? Like, how come, Punk said this, and that? Because I am super uber overly, I like that, the lore of the CM Punk. Like, I'm a sicko. Ariel's like, we got to get to the next thing. We can't spend an hour like Phil Marks is on this one clip. We got to get to the next fucking question. So I can't then go back because, okay, why didn't Collision work? Well, there's stories about him sending people there to like oversee Punk, but it was pitched to Punk that like it was his show and he was running things and he was asking people not to do shit. But then they were running to other people who said that they could do shit. And then he's asking them, well, why the fuck are you saying they can do shit when I'm supposed to be running? You know what I mean? So there's all of that you could get into, but that's what this show's for, right? That's not what Ariel Helwani show's for. So don't be triggered at Ariel that he didn't like beat Tony over the head with this one thing, or else the whole interview is just Punk. When I want to know about Rusev, I want to know about people walking all over Tone. I want to know about the Kismet, right?
I'll be right now. Everybody's really happy, and it feels like this is the best the locker room's been since the Jacksonville lockdown days. And we had
before
over
Punk,
a year of
he won't
shows.
say-
And I said at the beginning of the year, I wanted to bring that mentality to every show for everybody, that either how I put it together or the way we all interact or the way we all just sit down and are straight with each other and don't.
Which could be true. I don't even discount that either. Like maybe the vibes were better, but then why does Cody Rhodes hate you, bro? Like, why did you how the fuck did you greatly offend him and Brandy so hard? And Ricky Saints and Jade Cargill and these people, like they are swinging, bro. That picture they took, like, come on, and they all trained together and shit. Like, come on, man, we know what's going on. And Rhodes brought them in to AEW, and there's a reason for that too. But whatever.
Let the distance grow, because in Jacksonville it felt like the locker room
He gets
was
asked
super,
about that
super
picture
tight.
too.
And then we became nomads again, and we went on the road, and it wasn't like that. And this year it really has been, and it feels like this is probably the closest it's been since the beginning of AEW. And then we took that spirit of the very beginning of AEW and became even more tight knit, living in a bubble together.
It was great. So moving along here, Tony Khan is asked if AEW will ever leave the pay-per-view model. So let's take a listen to this.
As you know, UFC's deal on pay-per-view is coming to an end, right? With the Paramount Plus, that's a huge. So they're now going to be on Paramount Plus, and it'll just be their numbered events, but not behind that extra paywall. Do you think we will ever get to a point? Because you're one of the last ones left now, AEW, right?
Well, yeah.
Will we get to a point ever where maybe it'll be behind a subscription paywall, the pay-per-views, but not that extra price to get the actual show? Do you know what I mean?
I'm not sure. It's a good question. I think with AEW, something I've been really conscious of and have tried to stay consistent with is maintaining great prices for families or friends to come and watch the shows at.
So bullshit, because AEW is being accused of charging too much. We talked about this earlier in the show. They've been accused, like 2 years ago, not even 2 years ago. When was it? Chad will correct me, but all the discourse was like, damn, they're charging a lot for how lousy these shows have been and are, and the quality of them and what people expect. So for Steamboat Tony to say that, like, I've always tried to make it the best price. I don't know, dude. If you were just at MSG doing the shows WWE was, you would charge that amount too if you could, and the sickos would love it, and you'd go to Saudi too, and you'd take $6 million from Vegas. So it's truly just supply and demand, and it's just kind of silly to sort of retcon your history that way. However, or to make a claim like this that we know is like a lie or whatever, but he's a carny, and maybe that is his objective now, and it wasn't a couple years ago, which is fine, but don't be like, I've always done this. No, you haven't. But yeah, I'm not mad at this because he's going to put himself over in his company and try and get his shit over. So, okay, he's just Triple H would be on some bullshit if he was on here too. How long though until we get a Triple H one? For sure, we're going to get a Triple H on Ariel, like ASAP.
An affordable price to be an AEW fan, and I think we've done a fantastic job with that. So it's a great question. Now, the pay-per-view price for AEW has been consistent from day one. It's the same price it's always been to order the pay-per-views.
What is it?
It's on cable and satellite.
And I do give them props for the pay-per-view. It's always been the same price. I give them props for that because pay-per-view is like a dead thing. And yeah,
$49.99, and now you can get the events. Lots of outlets that we've added over the years for that price for $49.99. Amazon Prime, YouTube, a lot of great places that are great partners. But our media partnership that really drives the engine that is AEW and Warner Brothers Discovery.
Okay.
And so we're on TBS every Wednesday. We're on TNT every Saturday. But also now this year, and I talked about how it's been this awesome year, a key thing that really felt like a switch that got flipped even more than usual to start the season, so-called, in AEW this new year. There's always a great energy at the start of the year, the calendar year in AEW, because the records reset. It's a fresh.
When the fuck has the records resetting ever been a factor? Let alone, what the fuck? The records? You still do that?
Start for the wrestlers in a new season. But also this year, it was the beginning of putting the shows on HBO Max. Now the pay-per-views are also on HBO Max. And it's only been a few months of this, but it's really been working out very well. And it's also great for the fans because it's the lowest price. It's $39.99. And if you're in.
But here's the thing. Weren't people saying that it actually costs them more money? I can't remember. We went over that on the show. Episode 200. Hit the like. Super chat in. Gift a super chat or a membership. It's the holiday spirit. Get a membership, get access to bonus shows. Only 99 cents. Let's go.
An HBO Max subscriber already. That's a great deal because you're saving $10 a month on these great pay-per-views. We get great satisfaction.
Are you really though
on our shows? It's really means a lot to me because I was a kid and my parents would not let me buy every single wrestling pay-per-view. So I really appreciate whenever people do put the money in for every show, and that's why I try to put so much into every pay-per-view and make it feel like you really got your money's worth out of this show. And especially now with on-demand DVRs and the shows being available to stream, you can always go back and watch them again and again. And I see some of your wrestling posters and pay-per-view.
Until you can't, though. Until you can't. Like, what happens when it's not on HBO Max anymore? Then the person who bought it, and that's all this digital shit. When you buy movies and shit, they can all just go away. It's fucking crazy how that works.
Posters, and again, these are shows that I would watch again and again and again. So I hope and believe that the AEW shows are like that with the pay-per-views we put on. And so to your question, I think we have a great model right now, and we just signed a great media rights deal that I think even the most stringent analyst would say is a
you're so fucking lucky that the big panel data and all of this other shit, the numbers didn't tank this hard before that deal. Tone is so, imagine how bad it would have been if they were doing these numbers now, if they would have gotten one at all.
Really strong deal for AEW, the company, and makes a lot of sense for us. And it also shows the faith that Warner Brothers, TBS, TNT, and HBO Max have in AEW.
And that is true. Like, they have them spread out across everything, but it almost feels like filler shit. And if the rumors that Dave Meltzer spread out there about like if they have 500, I think it was Dave, if they have 500,000 viewers live, that's all WBD wants. Well, it's like, well, now Dynamites are doing lower than that. Yeah, but then plus the streaming. No, they're not looking at that. And they are looking at the streaming. But they're not sitting there looking at the TV number and going, well, they also have this much on the simulcast, so let's leave them in this fucking time slot where, no, dude. No. That's not how that works. Streaming could be a good play for them. And Tony does drop a stat about later on, and I'm sure I have it in clip form. I thought it was coming up right there, but he drops a stat about how AEW, out of NFL, any of the sports that they have on HBO Max or whatever the fuck, AEW has the most repeat customers and for the purchases, like live purchased events or whatever. But it's like, dude, you're the only one doing that. That's the thing. Because Ariel presses him on that a bit. He's like, but dude, do you think you'll go to a model where it's included in, because like you buy Max and then you have to you have to pay for the pay-per-view on top of it. And Tony's like, well, we have the best repeat customers and like out of any of the sports. And he admits he doesn't know the streaming numbers. We'll get into all that. But speaking of streaming, WWE's been counter-programming, and here's Tony Khan's thoughts on that.
Something that I was really curious about, and I hadn't really heard you asked about this, so would love to hear your thoughts.
Oh, but just to what I was saying before, I just want to reiterate the point. He's the only one doing that, at least to my knowledge. Like, who's doing pay-per-views for any other sports? Like, isn't it just included on there? So you're doing a pay-per-view a month. So yeah, that's going to happen. Even if it's 25,000 people, and the NBA is not doing you have to pay per view on top of your streaming thing multiple a fucking year, sometimes twice a month. Like, I'm sure that's not a thing. So of course that would be a stat. But again, he's going to tout that stat because that's a stat that does look good. He can pitch that. That sounds great in meetings and shit. As a sicko, as a wacko, are you going to be like, oh, that's bullshit, it's because of this thing Phil just said? Yes. But like, is Ariel supposed to press him on that? I don't fucking know, man. It's just like, whatever. Yeah, of course he's going to say that. And of course that's true. I'm sure that's true. No other sports doing pay-per-views every fucking month or two a month. He does them a week apart sometimes. It's like, yeah, no one else is doing that. So obviously
it is very clear to me as an outsider that when you're putting on a big show, WWE tries to counter-program it. How do you react when this happens? Do you think this is being done on purpose?
I do think it's done on purpose, and I understand it, and it's part of wrestling, and I think we've seen a lot of it, but I think other wrestling promotions that have been the challenger wrestling brand in our lifetime have seen a lot of it.
I actually really like his answer when it comes to the counter programming stuff.
Jim Crockett Promotions, which was the forerunner to WCW, saw a lot of this. And Jim Crockett Promotions ended up having to sell the company to Ted Turner, who then made a great run. It took a while. And really, if you look, Ted Turner took over at the start of 1989, and the strongest run came over 6 years later, almost 7 years later, it started really. When
1989
business peaked and took off their peak years. So it's interesting because as a challenger wrestling promotion, you've got a great opportunity, but it's really hard. It involves tons of investment to build up to be a true strong challenger. And that's why we took the risk with AEW when we did. I do think that we've seen that kind of counter programming and those things. And I understand, and looking back at wrestling history, kind of expect that. And
does it frustrate you?
I think it's okay because for us, it's always worked out and we're in a great position. So it hasn't ever been a thing where it's cost us anything. And even when you do something like AEW All in Texas, where we do the show in the afternoon, it really worked out for us great. And it was one of the best days in the history of the company. So
you don't take it personally. You're not like, can you guys just leave me alone?
See, I think he's lying. Tone, you for sure. Well, now you got to take, here's the thing. Tony made it personal with the, so here's how we break it down. Everybody says, well, Triple H took the first shot with that pissant company. Okay. So then Tony took that personally, called them personally bald assholes. Didn't talk about the company. He talked about the company too, but he took personal shots at Shawn Michaels and Triple H. He took personal shots at Undertaker and John Cena. He then took a shot with the Harvey Weinstein thing at the whole company because he took it personal. But Triple H didn't go, yeah, that kid's a pissant kid. And he didn't say that. He said that pissant company. Okay, so Tony's lying here. He did take it personally. We know that. His answer here is great. It's political. It's great. And it's good on the surface. And if you don't know shit about AEW and the history of all of that, you're like, okay, he didn't take it personal. And maybe he takes it less personal now. And maybe he's starting to realize, yeah, I shouldn't have taken that so personally. It just hurt our company when I did. Okay, good. But at the time, he took that shit personally. Now, the question is about the counter programming, right? But that's where this all stems from. Because WWE clearly, yes, does do the counter programming. They're fucking with AEW. Clearly they were. When it comes to like WrestlePalooza and shit, with the launch of ESPN, like when you make that deal, you got to pull the trigger, like, and there's only so many weekends. So maybe in that instance, no, but clearly when they stacked the day against All In, like clearly they did that for a fucking reason. Clearly. I'll say clearly again. Hit the like. So 200, yeah.
I just have the day for myself. The one in Toronto, right? You put it earlier in the day because they had the ESPN debut. And so, you'd have to be an idiot to not think that this is being done on purpose. UFC used to do this with their competition back in the day. And so I was just curious how you react internally to this.
Well, it's very interesting. I think that it's something that is a part of the wrestling business, and I definitely don't take it personally. I think
he fucking did. He totally used to take it personally. Maybe he's
something that I was really
give
curious.
Steamboat Tone the benefit of the doubt and say, you know what, maybe he's not so offended by it personally. So Tony Khan reacts to Matt Hardy saying WWE TNA partnership was created to hurt AEW. And I think that Triple H always had this in mind. And I think that it's not the sole reason. I maintain this. I've talked about this a lot on the show in the past. I don't think the partnership, the main reason is to fuck with AEW, but it's there, so why not, right? That's how I've always looked at it. I think Triple H was always trying to do that. I think he was always trying to work with Nuge. They brought Jushin in. He got Shinsuke. He's always trying to tie in the indies. They brought in Adam Cole, generic Osteen, anyone who's hot on the indies, tried to bring him in. He tried to get TNA guys. James Storm did a couple appearances, then dipped out. Like, that's in a time when WWE wasn't really even doing shit like that, and now we're seeing it on the main roster. Hello, Dolph Ziggler. Hello, Zack Ryder, right? On these one-off, hey, we'll sell Dolph Ziggler merch. You can be in the video games. Go do Nick Nemeth shit wherever the fuck you want. And when we need you, we'll call you. That rules. You know, I'm totally down. That's how pro wrestling always should have been. That's how WWE always should have treated their shit, in my opinion. But when it comes to the TNA deal or the partnership being done solely to hurt AEW, I don't think that's the sole reason, but yes, it's clearly a factor in the equation, and you might as well, right? You have a tool, use it, you know? But again, I do agree. It's clearly a part of it.
I want to ask you about this. I had Matt and Jeff Hardy on in July, and I asked them, like, what do you make of this WWE TNA partnership? And Matt said to me, like, let's be honest, it's the hurt AEW. Do you view it that way as well? That's the way he put it.
I really like Matt and Jeff a lot. I like Matt and Jeff a lot, and I loved working with them when they were in AEW, and I still love Matt and Jeff very much. If they
and I don't think it was malicious.
I don't think at all. And
but do you think that that's the impetus?
I respect that opinion a lot. I think
you agree with it.
I think it's probably true, and I respect that Matt said it. Honestly,
yeah,
I think that's really cool. And I think Matt's a great guy. I think Jeff's a
what
great
do you make
of that? It's really cool when people defend me and stand up for me. It's really cool when that happens.
The fact that they're so tight now.
It's interesting. I think it's a very interesting collaboration, but I think Matt hit the nail on the head that it makes sense. And AEW is a very strong challenger brand, and it's not that unusual. Like,
you take it as a compliment.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you know, I remember when WCW was starting to do better and Smoky Mountain Wrestling was running shows in Georgia, that Vince McMahon called up Jim Cornette and sent a bunch of the WWF wrestlers to Smoky Mountain Wrestling to help.
I would love to hear Jim Cornette's rebut to the
thank you, fuck you, bye, boom.
Repeating itself.
Compete with WCW. So I do think, like, when you have a strong challenger
There's nothing
brand,
to rebut. It's just a fact. Tony is spitting facts here, okay? I got no qualms with what he's saying.
Usual to see the WWF collaborate with another company. We saw that with Smoky Mountain there, and in Memphis, I think, did some of the same things to compete with WCW shows. So it's not that unusual. And again, I don't take it personally at all. It makes sense looking at the wrestling playbook of the WWF.
If Tone was smart, he would try to do like a partnership with WWE. But he just, I don't know. If he was smart, that's what the fuck he would do, I think, at this level. It would only help him. Moving along here. Although, like, yeah, I don't want to see like a monopoly, but who's to say? I don't know. It'd be cool to see a crossover. But now WWE's like, fuck that. We're going to squish you. That's the problem. They just set it up fucked up. You know? AEW could have been, when they were doing all that Forbidden Door talk, they could have been the company where it's like, yeah, man, they play nice. You know, WWE sends them folks or whatever. Like, they trade people and shit. And WWE was willing to work with them at one point. WWE was willing to work with them, right? Like, Moxley and Jericho were both in talks, and Moxley as Mox, and Jericho in his AEW gimmicks were in talks to appear in a fucking Royal Rumble. That's real shit. So, anyways, Tony Khan here admits that he doesn't know the streaming numbers and that they don't tell him. So, shout out BJ Bethel. So, BJ Bethel.
Great.
In this position. Speaking of the fans, there's always a lot of talk about ratings, about attendance. Honest assessment of where you're at right now from a ratings perspective and attendance perspective.
Thank you for that. I'm very excited. We're coming off of an awesome event this past week and awesome ratings. We had a great week. We were one of the top shows on cable.
Okay.
And this year,
what did that do? I don't know the.
It was so I don't have all the numbers of the DVR, and I don't know the streaming numbers. You got to remember that we have a lot of fans who watch on HBO Max now, but on TBS, it was 600,000, and it was in our time slot one of the top shows, and it ranked somewhere in the top 10 on cable for the entire night. And in its time slot, I think it was along with ESPN and Fox News. TBS was one of the top 3 channels, and
so top 3 channels, but it's like, I mean, okay, that's cool, I guess. It's just, who gives a fuck?
It was also to me, if you add in what I would believe we have on our streaming audience, more people watching than last year's Blood and Guts. And our audience.
So why would he believe that? He explains, well, the reason why I believe that is because we've seen with NFL in it, and I know from working on the NFL side of things and other, that's what Tony Khan goes on to say. And it's like, why the fuck would that apply to AEW though? And why would that, as a smart man who doesn't know the numbers, you say, okay, a little bit of that, but we're shrinking. All of our numbers are going down, 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 down. So why would you just assume like all of the, like magically 200,000 started watching again? You know, like the show does 600,000 viewers, let's say. So then where's the other, you guys used to do 900,000 or whatever the fuck. So 300,000 who stopped watching. They've done numbers as low as 500 and 400,000. So like the 400,000 who stopped watching just magically returned when the streaming became an option. What the fuck? Like everybody understands your numbers have gone down a little bit because of the streaming, but people didn't magically start watching the show again. You know, the same amount of people are watching goddamn football. Everyone's watching football still. You know what I'm saying? So you can safely bet and you can look at those numbers and go, okay, you can't compare AEW to that. Especially not right now.
This year, our cable.
You know what the streaming numbers are?
No, I don't have them.
They don't tell you.
No, I don't have them.
Okay.
And I honestly don't.
And then it gets cut off. I honestly, bullshit. No. Tony Khan gets asked if he has any interest in Karrion Kross, aka Killer Kross, and he just gives weirdo answer that makes me think he's, and that Kross is going to go get some money with Scarlett on the indies and shit, and then he's just show up in AEW. This is what I think, because just the way this is the goofiest answer to this question ever. Just answer if you've talked to him or not.
Do you have, or did you have any interest in?
Or it's either that, or it's that he doesn't want to bring Kross and Scarlett in, and so he's fucking avoiding it, but not trying to be like, oh, fuck Kross, but he's just trying to avoid it. Like, I'm not going to talk to him, guys. You know, it seems like it's something like that. It's just such an odd answer.
Killer Kross.
I have not spoken to him in many, many years. And
I thought he was a layup for you guys.
It's
given
interesting
how that all played out.
That's interesting. I'm not sure. I like Killer Kross. It'd be interesting at some point to talk to him again. It's been a long time since I've talked to Killer Kross.
R.I.P. Bob Caudle. Rest in peace.
It would be interesting. He's
so when he became free, you guys didn't chat?
I haven't yet. He did some stuff with Darby that I was involved with Darby in terms of clearing the schedule for Darby to do an independent match with him here in New York.
So you weren't involved in it at all. And then he just starts spurging out about
Darby. And they did a match, which I was involved in that. And Darby and I were actually at the Comic Con together that day promoting DC, AEW Full Gear, and the comic books with AEW.
And he talks a lot about these comic books. Like, listen, man, DC does these crossovers. The comic book industry's fucking cooked. DC has been... I mean, these like whatever side AEW comics, they look kind of shitty. I'm not even going to lie. And it's just... they just throw like it's just nothing comics, you know? So he's like, DC is sponsoring. Okay. DC's been like trying to regroup here. You know what I mean? They're hoping James Gunn can take him to the promised land. You know what I'm saying?
And Darby went right from the Comic-Con panel where he assaulted Mox.
Yes.
And it's cool. I like that. I'm all for super and DC sponsoring AEW. I don't give a fuck about any of that. And cool, do crossover comic. I mean, that's cool for kids and shit like that. But then kids turn your show on and they're looking at Sky Blue bleeding like that. And they're looking at fucking people being drowned in fish bowls. I just don't really get who you're trying to market to. And I think that's a big problem.
With the glass.
Got a lot of attention. He smashed the glass pitcher on Mox, who Mox is so awesome. And he did so great on that panel. I mean, to have somebody like that that's such a great champion and a great ambassador and a great leader. We're so lucky to have Jon Moxley in AEW, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say that. But Darby also is so important, and their rivalry has helped fuel us. And
wait, Killer Kross. We like Killer Kross.
So see, dude, he starts spurging out about Darby, and then Ariel's like, no, Killer Kross, like back on track. See, this is what I appreciate Ariel for. He didn't just let him babble. He did keep him in check, but I just think he had so many questions he wanted to get to in a limited time. And then the time was extended a bit, which helped him get to a lot more.
I like him. And I went that night.
See, dude, he's got to close his eyes. Oh, fuck. I completely,
I had a lot of things going on, and I actually wanted to go see his match, but Darby had to be hustled out, and we still had events. So Darby left early to go do that match with Killer Cross, which was great.
And Tony's like, I wanted to be there, and I let Darby wrestle Killer Cross, and I sort of did business with him. He's just trying to stay face here because I don't think he wants to bring Cross or Scarlett into his company.
Great that he was able to do both things. So I didn't get to see him that night. That would have been a great chance to connect with him.
Okay.
I
make this happen.
Yeah, he's great. I think he's tremendous. He's
him and Scarlett are a great duo. I think they've got a great thing, and they were red hot towards the end, were they not? Were you surprised that WWE didn't sign him?
It's interesting. I mean, you never know what's going on with different wrestlers in different wrestling organizations, so I can't speak to that. But I think he is very talented, and Darby said he had a great experience with him. So it would definitely be worth reconnecting. I mean, we get so deep in our foxholes and thinking about the different things we're doing. And sometimes I get so laser focused on one thing, as you can see, that.
So it's his way of being like, no, I didn't reach out to him. And I'm just not interested in bringing him in right now. He could have just simply been like, no, I haven't spoke to him. Yeah, I mean, you could see anybody in AEW. That's the beauty of the company. But I haven't talked to him yet. No. You just answer the question. He just goes on this tangent, starts talking about Darby and shit. He's like, I don't give a fuck. I just had Darby on my show. So Tony Khan, speaking of wrestlers we haven't seen or that Tony Khan loves, he talks about Adam Cole's latest status and basically confirms that Adam Cole is retired forever, I guess.
One more name, Adam Cole.
Or he might wrestle again, but it has to be the right circumstances. But he's cooked. He's injured. And it's like he's done pretty much. Terribly sad, by the way. Thank you, Cole. Thank you, Cole. Chat. Thank you, Cole. Thank you, Cole.
That's hard. Adam Cole, I love so much. And I think Adam Cole's such a great wrestler, but also he's a really good friend. And it was very, very hard when I got the phone call the morning of All In Texas that Adam Cole was not feeling well. And he's had injuries, and it's no secret some of the injuries he's experienced have been head injuries. And it was terrible when Adam Cole had the ankle injury, and when he needed time to recover, it was just, you don't want to see him in so much pain, but also it could have been, that alone could have been a career-ending injury, and he was out for over a year. And he came back from that. He was wrestling at a high level, and I was really excited about what Adam Cole had done. It was the opposite of great to work his way into a top position and become the TNT champion.
What's the opposite of great?
It was a great comeback story. And
that part was great, actually.
I'm just glad that he was able to tell us when he didn't feel good about wrestling anymore. And
do you think he's done?
I think it would have to be the right situation for Adam to wrestle again. I think it's at least possible that we would keep Adam as part of the family. But I want to get to where.
And would that have happened if he just shaved his goddamn head and managed Keith Lee or whatever? Would that have happened?
Feels good about traveling and doing things.
Or would he have been used as a manager, preserving his body, being in good shape and being bald-headed because that's what Vince wanted? And then when Triple H finally took over, Adam Cole, baby, boom, he returns as himself, and the WWE universe goes nuts. Could have been a different timeline. That's all I'm saying. But maybe that's just what would have happened. Maybe he would have got concussed in WWE. We really don't know.
Every week again. But I've been open with him that when he's ready, there's always a role in AEW for him. He had been a commentator at times, and he's been one of the hosts of the shows. He's great for that. He's a great talent. He could be involved in a lot of things. And if he ever did want to wrestle again and it was the right situation and everybody could wrap their heads around it, so to speak, I think that it could make a lot of sense. But if anything involving head injuries or serious injuries, I always want to look at it and evaluate, does this make sense? And is there an opportunity to do this safely where it's going to be a good outcome for everybody?
Well, that's really good that he's concerned about safety, and we hear more about that in a minute. We got a super chat here. Sassy Girl 7824, Sassy Girl. Thank you so much. says, congrats on the 200th show, PWT. Thank you, everybody. Round of applause for Sassy Gill for the $20 super chat. I appreciate that so much. We have to acknowledge you.
Acknowledge me.
Thank you so much. And 200 shows. It's crazy. It's actually nuts. And we surpassed 100 PWT pods. So that's like over 300 of the main show. That's not even counting run-ins and whatnot, Sassy Gill. So thank you for that. I really, really, really appreciate your support. What's chat saying right now? Was Fletcher the one who finished off Cole? Pause. Adam Cole sucked as a commentator. Pause again. No. What it was chat saying? Shelton Benjamin could get seriously hurt being out there with someone as dangerous as Mike Bailey. Okay, you're just jokes now. BRB, I honestly believe Shad has given Tony. Sorry, I know I'm skipping over some. There's chats going nuts tonight. Stinkbug, Mike Bayleaf. Come on, how do you guys come up with this shit? Bayleaf, isn't that a Pokemon? Okay, disconnected from the Fulham and Jags. Okay, we have a lot more to get to in this interview, so let's dive right back in. And thank you, Sassy Gill, for the super chat, guys. You can become a member for 99 cents or gift a membership this holiday season as well. I do bonus shows every week, okay? And they fucking rule. So, moving along here, let's get into this some more. Tony Khan shares his take on harsh criticism AEW receives from old podcasters, Brian.
My impression, I look at a lot of things, I listen to a lot of things. I feel like there's a lot of these like YouTube pundits, especially like the old timers, so to speak, and I hope they don't take offense to this, but you know, the guys who have been there, done that, who feel like it seems to me like they have an axe to grind with you.
It's interesting because
why do you think this is?
I don't know. I think
you know what I'm talking about, right? Like,
sure, I do.
Let me axe you a grind.
Cornets, the Bishops, like every single video, if you type in your name, it's never complimentary of AEW or your.
I disagree. See, like when Tony Khan brought CM Punk back, and I think Jim Cornette said he did it better than I'd have done it. I think Jim admitted that. So this is what I mean, like. The majority of AE, and I don't care when Tony's like, the pandemic era, we were all so tight-knit. That's great. It was all fuzzy sunshine and rainbows, but you had Matt Hardy doing shitty, cheesy teleporting spots and like dinner debonair and all this bullshit. Like you were doing some real redacted shit during that era too. Okay? And it wasn't all good. Like it really wasn't. People got knocked out in the ring and you had fucking referees not helping them while they're KO'd. I think that happened multiple times in the pandemic era, right? There was some really good shit in there, like Brody Lee and Rhodes and stuff like this. There was some good shit, dude, especially early on. The majority of AEW's 6-year run so far has been shitty. I'm just being like, in general, generally speaking, it has not been great. Great. So when it's mostly shitty, people are going to mostly shit on it. That's why you see mostly people shitting on it and laughing at shitting on it. It's not a bully thing. It's a lolcow thing, dude. It's just like we're making fun of this. It's just such a ludicrous, some of the shit that gets said, some of the way some of these people act, the cope, the spin, the Dave Meltzers. Like, you can't tell me Meltzer isn't like a parody. He almost seems not even like a real person. He's such a fucking goofball. You can't tell me it's not funny to make fun of and that people are just making excuses. And again, I pointed out an instance of where Tony Khan can call people names, but other people aren't allowed to make fun of AEW. We'll keep the same fucking energy. And then people will come, some guy with like a bunch of followers today or yesterday was like, you're a fucking loser because I said what I'm saying now. So you're triggered. You're calling me names because I said Tony called people names, and so other people can call him names. You dish it, you serve it. But you're calling me names now. See how it goes? Like, that's the circle of life, baby. I don't know what to say. Like, he dished it out. The fans got mad. A bunch of their fans went and started watching WWE again, or realized WWE was better. And every measurable scientific metric reflects. I don't care that you like it. Okay? Why do you care if I don't like it or if we're pointing out its shit? Meanwhile, I do give it credit when it deserves credit. Meanwhile, and I'm not an old podcaster. I mean, I haven't been in the biz. Like I'm not lumping myself in with Cornettes and Bischoffs by any means or stretch of the imagination. Okay. But with the Cornettes and Bischoffs, it's like they've been there, done that. They're from an older time as well. So their like tolerance of what's acceptable is going to be even perhaps smaller. I don't know how to phrase this. Like they're going to have a way shorter tolerance for some of this shit than even myself, right? Like they might think Mike Bailey's a goof for all I know. I like Mike Bailey, you know? But yeah, it's well, let's listen to Tony Khan's rebut to or answer to
it. Clearly does engagement for them to talk about AEW because
it does do engagement, making fun of AEW shit. It does engagement. And that's totally fine. Making fun of WWE shit doesn't do as much engagement. And I know that firsthand. And it's like, okay, it is what it is, you know? We don't make the rules. Like I don't make the algorithm. I don't make the fucking rules, but I'm not doing this because of that. And you can look at my body of work on YouTube and there's proof. Otherwise I'd stop going hard. I would just glaze the Fed and fucking, you know, like I would just become an AEW. This would be called AEW Hater Times or whatever. It ain't that, you know?
Spend such a large percentage.
It's just that mostly shit is bad in AEW. So most people are going to point out that most of it's shit. And that's why they spend a large percentage of the time, because a large percentage of your shit in general is considered shitty to the majority of wrestling fans and people with voices and people are interested in listening to and watching. You get what I'm saying, chat? I know chat gets it. You guys are fucking geniuses here. Bona fide geniuses
of your real estate, and you wouldn't devote such a large percentage of your content to talking about AEW unless it was engaging. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a
100%.
Smart strategy.
Why do you think they do it so much?
Well, we're ongoing. We're putting on wrestling 52 weeks a year, and people want to talk about current events. And right now, AEW is a huge part of the wrestling landscape.
Great answer. That's spot on. From Tone right there.
If we put great shows on, tomorrow is a Wednesday night, and we're gonna
now you're bullshitting, right?
Have a great Wednesday night Dynamite tomorrow, and I think that any given week, you can count on there's going to be AEW putting on new content to talk about, and we're one of the major wrestling brands that people are going to want to discuss. And
the one thing he won't say though is like, we do shocking shit, we do outlandish. John Moxley's about to fucking swallow a Hot Wheel in a condom and then shit it out live on TV. Like we're coming up with tricks and weird shit, and so a lot of times people tune in just for the like, what dumb shit is gonna happen. Let's just like hate watch this. This is like, if you watch it as a parody of wrestling, it fucking rules. That sort of thing, and that's not good. That's where most of the attention comes from. Most of the attention is AEW wrestlers go on a show. They get asked about WWE people. That's what gets clipped, quoted, and shared. That's not good, man. You need to make it about the bullshit Tony's saying. Tony's like, we put on great shows. That's not why people are talking. Raw was a great show. Has everyone talking. Okay? That's not why people are talking about AEW. They're talking about the fucking, we're going to drown a guy in a fishbowl after the Rizzler had a match on the pre-show or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean?
A big part of the wrestling landscape is AEW. So I think
100%.
People want to talk about the new wrestling, talk about the current wrestlers. And as I see all this stuff here, I want to try and get some AEW. I'm going to send you some AEW stuff.
I appreciate that.
We'll put that. We'll hopefully make that part of the set because you're a big wrestling fan.
Yes,
you got wrestlers and great memorabilia. I might try to get a Jaguar even up here with a
Jaguar. I'm crazy about that.
Okay, but this is great.
Forest and the Bills. You can't. We actually were playing you guys end of December at Craven Cottage.
Yeah, we've had some great battles over the years with Nottingham Forest and with the Buffalo Bills.
Is it fair though? Is it fair? Like, you feel like sometimes they hit you below the belt?
I don't want to. I think that is the business strategy. I think that's a pretty consistent business strategy of WWE that has not changed with the ownership change. And so,
okay, so that's WWE. So I'm talking about the pundit.
So he just brings it back to WWE. No joking. So Tony Khan talks about, speaking of WWE, the photo of Jade Cargill, CM Punk, Ricky Saints, and Cody Rhodes. And so what Tony talks about here in this clip and what he tries to do is make it about the Moxley Cody Rhodes photo where they're both holding titles and flipping off the camera, that all the sickos were like, oh, AEW, like back then. And that picture did go hard as fuck, and that was during a good era of AEW. It was, man. But I really love the stuff Cody Rhodes did. Like, even when people shit on him for he gave the Homelander speech or whatever everyone was saying, and the stuff like trying to bring Shaquille O'Neal in and stuff, like that was all he was trying to make it a larger than life. He was looking at it like we can do WrestleMania one day. This can be like as big as that if we fucking lock in here. Tony didn't have that vision, but he just, instead of just saying, yes, I saw the picture and it makes me proud to see people who got their start or really, helped AEW do great things for AEW, go on to do great things, whatever the fuck. He just is like, well, it reminds me of this picture that I took with Moxley and Cody Rhodes. And he's like, and he's fucking, he just, it's like one of these Darby tangents where he's like, well, I booked that match with Killer Cross and Darby. I mean, not really. Here he's like, I was backstage back in 21 and I took that picture. And Ariel's like, yeah, I'm asking you about this other picture,
When you saw that picture of Jade, Ricky, Cody, and I believe Punk in there, all with ties to your organization, how did that make you feel?
I saw that, and I think AEW is having a great year. I think AEW is in a fantastic place. I think the roster right now is delivering great shows, and I'm really proud of what AEW is doing right now. It did make me smile because it reminded me of Double or Nothing 2020, the first pandemic pay-per-view.
Now, I get what he's trying to do, but this is like politician bullshit. He's trying to veer the conversation all the time to be about AEW, and that's good. Again, Carney's going to Carney. But this is just politician babble. Like, you ask them a question, they just make it about some other shit. And yeah, I mean, we're just seeing this here, and it just kind of doesn't work when we have guys like Dana White and Eddie Hearn and people who are out there like on Ariel's show, just keeping it real and saying what the fuck. And even Carlos Silva, a lot of the times he's like, this is great, that's great. But it just seems as though he's sharper with the answers. Whatever. I'm not here to criticize Tony. He's just carnying it up, making it about AEW. That's fine.
Put on this great pay-per-view, and Cody won the TNT title, and Mox retained the AEW World title versus the late, great Mr. Brody Lee. May he rest in peace. And after the show, Cody and Mox in the area of Daly's Place that is the kind of the one communal area. It's part of what brings everyone together so much in Daly's Place is like the gorilla and the pre-tape space and the live interview space and the hallway. It's all one thing that connects the amphitheater itself. There's just a very small little backstage, and it's very tight, and it's talent viewing. It's everything. And that's why, like, when people are doing promos, there might be 6 rows of wrestlers sitting 5 feet from them behind the camera watching them do it. But it's just, we're all used to it. And after Double or Nothing 2020, Cody and Mox took a photo, and I thought it was interesting. It just reminded me, just shows how far in the mirror. But I remember the photo that Cody and Mox took, and in that moment, I think
like, what the fuck are you babbling about?
Took it on my phone.
Wow.
So
when you see that,
I think I took it on my phone. Time cop.
Is there pride there? Do you feel like it's a shot at you? Do you feel like
I have relationships with all 4 of them, and they're very different. I could talk for 2 hours about each of the 4 of them and why I like them and why I thought they were great in AEW. And we could talk about all their matches, or I could talk about how much I like them all as people. But, they're all not wrestling in AEW anymore. And, but to be completely honest with you, I just thought that photo, and it made me think of Double or Nothing 2020 and being there in Jacksonville and taking that photo on my phone and remembering that night and thinking, man, it's crazy how 5.5 years have flown by.
It's crazy. Time flies like Time Cop.
Or
maybe Ghostbusters. I'm going to watch a Christmas Story next week. Home Alone 2. It's my favorite. Fat Factor Creation for 2 says Dave is a stupider Chris Griffin from Family Guy. I don't know. Oh, come on
now, Eric.
That's not very fair to compare him to Chris Gristle. Thank you for the super chat. Let's continue along here. So Tony Khan reveals the spot where he thought Darby Allin crossed the line. So he does have a line, and it got crossed.
Is there ever a point with Darby where you feel like it's a little too crazy? Like some of the stuff through the glass, and it's just sometimes I have to admit I'm a hardcore fan too, but like I'm like, why put yourself through that? Do you ever feel sometimes like it's a little bit too much with him?
I think he's really a brilliant wrestler, and also he takes these chances, and I think normally they're very calculated chances. The one that I thought was too far, and I would say this to him, and I have said this to him 100 times, so what I'm saying to you is in Sting's last match with the glass in Greensboro off the ladder through the glass, that was so much, and that was the one where I thought maybe it was too much, and it wasn't exactly what the way it was described. It was pretty brutal. And that was the one after where I said, I think you're so brilliant about these chances, but this is the first time ever where I thought probably it was too much. But it was also the greatest night in the history of the promotion. And he took a huge risk, and it worked out. And they won the match, and Sting and Darby finished as an undefeated team. And Sting.
See, at least Vince was like, he wouldn't ask anyone to do anything he wouldn't be willing to do. But you hear the stories of people pitching dumb shit, and he's like, no. Or after he's like, don't ever do this again. And Tony's just like, well, I thought this would be too far. And then I let him do it. And the way it was explained to me, it wasn't. Okay, well, then how did you reprimand them? To let other people know they can't do that. That's part of the being walked all over shit. It's just like, bro, you need to own that shit.
Retired, undefeated in AEW as a world tag team champion. It's my personal favorite night ever of all the wrestling we've ever done. And Darby was such a huge part of that, but that was a big risk to take for sure.
Oh, man. So Tony Khan breaks down his threshold for stunts and gore, piggybacking off of that last clip.
What is your line with the stunts? Like, you know,
and
like,
everybody go and check out the Ariel Helwani show. Shout out Ariel and the boys in the back, and Uncrowned, and don't 10-7 me, Bappa.
Moxley stuff. And what is there a line for you? I know some fans say it's like a little bit too gory. So do you have a personal line?
It has to make sense. And almost everything we've ever done, I thought it made sense. And the things that
almost everything we've ever done made sense. Nope, the hypodermic needle didn't make sense. The cinder block in the match didn't make sense because they burnt each other's houses down. The fuck did a cinder block have to do with anything?
There were ever a few that didn't work out, I thought, well, that probably didn't make sense to begin with. And that's why over the years, I think we've really refined the process. But we have such great wrestlers that
we refined the process into fishbowl drownings.
99.9% of the time, I always think everything they do is awesome, and I agree with the choices they make.
That's the fucking problem right there. King Sicko right there. I'm trying to figure out the other show. I was like, Dave Meltzer is like Sicko Vecna, and Brian Alvarez is like the Mind Flayer. I don't know about that, dude. Tony Khan could be the Mind Flayer. Or Vecna, you know what I'm saying?
But sometimes there's stuff that seems like it's pushing it, and absolutely the chances that the wrestlers
I'm fucking stupid. Don't listen.
Take on pay-per-views or a big night like Blood and Guts, they sacrifice and they do so much, and that's what makes pro wrestling so great. Is you have wrestlers that are willing to sacrifice their bodies for the fans with no off season, 52 weeks a year, and then push it even further under these kinds of circumstances. So everybody on the AEW Blood and Guts show in particular, I thought really set a great example of that. And also, thankfully, everybody's come out of it okay. You know, it's
Yeah,
it
we
hasn't-
can fucking tell because you destroy each other and then it's just all fake and phony because the Death Riders and Moxley just wrestle the next Wednesday. No one's selling anything. No one's bandaged up. It's fucking stupid. It's like an episode of Family Guy. Nothing really matters in the end of it. You know?
potential to be a career-ending match with its hard-hitting situation, but thankfully everybody's good.
Except for Sky Blue and Jamie Hayter, who both chipped teeth and
What is your line with
cut their head up. Weren't they injured? Didn't Dave Meltzer report multiple injuries coming out of Blood and Guts? What the fuck? So Tony Khan, he gets asked about Chris Jericho's future with AEW. And I've come up with a theory. This is my new theory, okay? And it goes a little something like this.
I look and see it's not just me. So many others have stood where I stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. They call us problem child. We spent our lives on trial. We walk an endless mile. We are the youth gone wild. We stand and we won't fall. We're one and one for all. The writing's on the wall. We are the youth gone wild. Let it get wild. Yay!
So I think Chris Jericho, I don't think Tony would blow up his spot, but I think Chris Jericho's going to return to WWE. He'd be too stupid not to at this point. And even at MSG at Raw, they were chanting Y2J when Gunther hit the Boston Crab. But Jericho will just sign with WWE for like 2 years, do his induction, do his farewell tour, do his return pop, do his get whoever over Cena style, and then he'll just go back to AEW and take Tony's money and work there. And I bet Tony will let him do it. And this answer makes me think for sure that's what's going to happen, because Tony clearly doesn't. He reveals more than he needed to here, actually, which was an awesome part of this interview. But everyone's like, "Oh, enough of the Jericho shit." But it's like he reveals more than he needed to in this clip right here.
What's the state of Chris Jericho's relationship with the company?
Chris Jericho is somebody who's in AEW and has been with us from
in
the
AEW. Seems sketchy.
Very beginning. He's been away from us for a bit, but he's
Since April, right? His last appearance was in April.
Yeah, and he's somebody that's had, even this year, great matches with Bandito, somebody that's been a world champion for us and was really at the very beginning of AEW absolutely as key and instrumental as any individual in the launch of AEW. And
I mean, just confirming what Phil Marks says all the time, like you had the thing was like Jericho was going to help them with like he's the reason they got TV deals, him and Rhodes, and these are, hey, Jericho's a legend. He was Vince McMahon's first ever WWE champion. Like that had so much weight behind it when this thing started. Jericho is as much to thank for AEW's existence as any of the EVPs, probably more than
Stupid idiot.
And I would say Mox as well. And that's why they're so ride or die for AEW. But Mox really wasn't. He admitted he would have walked the fuck out of there. Said that on his wife's pod. But Tone here, it just seems like he's not trying to blow up Jericho's spot. And listen to the phrasing of this shit.
I love Chris personally and professionally. I just reached out and wished him a happy birthday recently. I'm very excited about everything Chris has done in AEW.
So they don't talk every day. He had to reach out to say happy birthday, but they're not talking every day, so they're not that close. Okay.
Continues to be with us, and he's always
they're close. They're close, but they're not talk every day close. Okay, that's very revealing.
Be back.
I can't speak to that, but I love having Chris in AEW, and he's always welcome. The door's always open for Chris to come in.
What is the
what the fuck does that mean, Tone? Oh shit!
Master need to obliterate.
Lex, what the fuck does that?
I don't know.
Me neither, dude. But like, Come on, man. That's revealing more than I feel he needed to. There. He's always welcome here and in AEW, and I can't speak to whatever. And there's more. He says a little more here that he doesn't even need to get into. But it's like, dude, this to me screams. I feel like his deal's up. He's not going to blow. Jericho would call Tony and go, Tone, this is what I'm going to do. And imagine this too. If Jericho goes back to WWE for like 2 years, then goes back to AEW, because everyone's saying like Jericho's signed a 10-year deal. Okay. So that means he's trying to still wrestle and stick around for a while. So if he goes back to WWE for like 2 years, does a farewell tour, Hall of Fame induction, all that shit, he can do the cruise, he can do the fanatics, he can give the fans what they want. Then he goes back to AEW. Maybe that will lure people back over there again. Like maybe there's a game plan. And I've always said that if it was ever revealed that Jericho owns his deals worked out to where he has some ownership of AEW, would that shock anyone? Wouldn't shock me, man. Even the EVPs. It wouldn't shock me. Like, I guess Thurston's like revealed that wouldn't be the case by now, if we're believing all of Thurston's shit, which I do. We know that WBD likely owns like 5% of AEW, and like none of the wrestlers doing shit. I mean that we know of, I guess, but would it shock you though if it came out that like it wouldn't shock me for 1 minute. So I just think he'd be willing to work with Jericho on this as well, and I think I could totally see that being the long-term play for Jericho.
Reason for his departure for now?
It's a very good question, and it's some of it comes down to just working out the dates.
Dates. Oh, so like he's only got a few left, and it crept up on you, and he didn't re-sign, and you were like, "Oh shit, he didn't re-sign." But there's only this many dates, and he wants to do whatever the fuck Jericho. He's getting in good shape, so either. And here's the thing, man, like people who know him, I don't know people who know him, but let's, I forget people's names and shit. Right? Like they are under the impression that he is a free agent or is about to be one as well. So it's like, I don't fucking know, right? It's all allegedly. If this is a ploy though, to make everyone hyped on here's the thing, WWE has to pull it off now. With the teases or with the like short returns of Ziggler and Zack Ryder and all the nostalgia bits and the way the crowd's chanting for him and the teases Jericho's done. If he just goes to AEW again, I just don't think that would be a good look. Like, do people go and start watching AEW? I don't think so. I think people just want to see like, no, dude, we like Dolph Ziggler, but a million of us aren't going to go watch Nick Nemeth and TNA, bro. We just want to see Dolph Ziggler come back or like do a one-off even, we like surprises. We like mixing in the nostalgia factor. You never know what's going to happen on Raw and SmackDown. That's the shit we miss. So I don't know. I think Jericho's got to give it to the fans. You got to give the people what they want at the end of the day. And the people want Jericho right now. So, and the AEW fans are chanting, please retire, dip out, go back to AEW, try and boost their audience again, the way Jericho brought attention to Nuge and the Indies and AEW. That's how he brought attention to them. He fucking dipped out of WWE, showed up in Nuge. That's how Moxley brought attention. People in WWE fans thought Moxley was staying with the company and it was all the work. Fucking showed up in AEW. People went crazy when that happened.
Is his deal almost up?
I would rather not get into that, but also I respect you asking about it. And
why can't he get into? You just say no if it wasn't. But it's because it's like he's got maybe here. And here's what I predicted too before. Jericho could appear once or like remember before he dipped out of WWE, everyone's like he's done, and then he just showed up for a match. Then he went to Nuge, and everyone was like, "Oh shit." He could, they could fuck around and do that, which would fuck up his WWE. It wouldn't because WWE fans aren't watching AEW for the most part, but like the people chanting Y2J, that's not sickos. Those are fucking like, those are just regular wrestling fans they're teasing Jericho. We got to see it happen. You know, everybody loves Jericho in WWE. In AEW, he was good for the first couple years. Some people would argue not even, you know? But anyways, moving on.
If I could give as
I
much,
think he's just revealing so much here. Like, I don't think Jericho might not be under contract, or he's got like one appearance left and they're not just trying to waste it or something.
information as possible to try and keep a very constructive
Fair. Do
dialogue.
you think we'll see him
together.
back in AEW? Or is
I
that TBD?
hope so. I absolutely
Okay.
hope we'll get Chris back in.
He hopes so.
And a star like
Why
Chris
does he
Jericho,
hope?
you negotiate a certain number
Why
of
does
dates.
he hope?
And Chris has always been really great
We
about being
negotiated
one
a
of those
certain number of dates, so he goes back to that. So clearly that means Jericho is just dates is what he works out in his deals. Okay, very revealing. We kind of already knew that, but that's how all the deals are worked out. But it's like, so he keeps bringing it up. Why? Because there's one left or two left, or they're done. The dates ran up, and that's why he hasn't been. But he just gave you his word, like, Tony, I won't go anywhere. Like, what happened? Why do you keep going back to that? It's interesting.
wrestlers in AEW that when he's in, he's all the way in. And if you think, he's always really been a full-time part of the show.
Sure.
And at first, when we started, we talked about finding ways with Chris and Fozzy and his band to keep him involved because he was such a central figure as the original AEW world champion, as Le Champion. So there were times where Chris would have videos in Dynamite or make appearances. Even when he offered John Moxley my dad's car, that was actually my dad's car, to join the Inner Circle in Jacksonville, Chris was actually on his way to the Tokyo Dome, and we had filmed that over the holidays, knowing Chris was going to be going to Japan. So he filmed this video that we
Dude,
played.
what the fuck are you talking about, Tony? That was years ago. What are you talking about?
For Mox to watch after the Mox versus Trent match in Jacksonville on New Year's Day. And then Mox himself then left for Japan right after that. But it was Jericho was wrestling Tanahashi and got over early to do media. And that was on the Tokyo Dome in 2020. And it's amazing to think now here we are almost 6 years later. And Chris has been a huge part of AEW from the very beginning. And we started out early, like, okay, how can we find ways to, keep Chris involved if he needed a week or two off? And then pretty soon Chris was just here every week and wanted to be here every week. And we love having him.
You just said way too much. Why are you revealing all of this? And like, okay, he worked a good schedule for you. That's awesome. But like, obviously these dates he's putting over the past Jericho shit. Why? Because Jericho's about to be out that motherfucker. And he's like, I hope we can have him back. This was very telling.
So if we can work out all the dates and all the things, I would always love for him to be here. But he's one of my favorite wrestlers, and certainly he's as instrumental to the launch of AEW as anybody.
He's out of there, dude. He's gone. He's gonzo. Tony Khan, speaking of gonzo, was asked to give an honest assessment of the AEW ratings and attendances.
Speaking of the fans, there's always a lot of talk about ratings, about attendance. Honest assessment of
And
where
this is like the most dishonest shit of the whole show.
you're at right now from a ratings perspective and attendance perspective.
Thank you for that. I'm very excited. We're coming off of an awesome event this past week and awesome ratings. We had a great week.
They weren't great. They were awesome, which is better than great. But this week was only great, though. Those things were awesome, but this week was great.
We were one of the top shows on cable.
Awesome plus awesome equals one great week.
Okay.
And this year,
What did that do? I don't know the.
it was so I don't have all the numbers of the DVR, and I don't know the streaming numbers. You got to remember that we have a lot of fans who watch on HBO Max now.
Prove it, though. You don't have the fucking numbers you just said, and then you just said that you have a lot who watch it. So how do you know that if you don't have the numbers?
You fucked up! You fucked up! You fucked up!
But on TBS, it was 600,000, and it was in our time slot one of the top shows, and it ranked somewhere in the top 10 on cable for the entire night. And in its time slot, I think it was along with ESPN and Fox News. TBS was one of the top 3 channels, and it was also to me, if you add in what I would believe we have on our streaming audience, more people watching than last year's Blood and Guts.
If you add what I believe is more, why would you believe it's more, though? Now, Ariel's not going to press him on that, but why would you believe it's more? What indicates to you that you would believe it's more? He tells Ariel why he thinks that. but you just can't apply NFL or NBA logic to fucking AEW. You just can't.
And our audience this year, our cable.
You know what the streaming numbers are?
No, I don't have them.
They don't tell you.
No, I don't have them.
Okay.
Which, here's the thing. That is fucked up if he doesn't know them. And I get it. Like, not every number. You don't get feedback on every single number, and you're doing the show every single week, but not even like a rough idea. He's just like, I don't have the knowledge whatsoever. It's like, well, pick up the phone and ask somebody, like, what the fuck? Wouldn't you want to know that, Tony? How the fuck do you negotiate your next TV deal or whatever? How the fuck do you go to Amazon? How do you pitch anything to them? Like, it's crazy. What about the pay-per-view numbers? I would love to hear. We don't know those either. What? They don't tell you the numbers that the pay-per-views do on the streamer? That's fucking crazy.
And I honestly don't know how many people would have watched, but knowing that it was our most watched show in months on TBS, I would expect it was probably our most watched show in months on streaming. From what I've seen in sports, we don't get every streaming number from every game with all the data, but I do know from the NFL that there's a healthy and growing audience that watches the events on streaming.
So why would that apply to AEW?
So I think that TBS is still our kind of bread and butter on Wednesdays and TNT on Saturdays, but I think that's a growing part of the audience, especially in the younger demographics. What's been really exciting for us is at the beginning of the year, I was thinking that there was a possibility, okay, we have this audience at the end of 2024. I was here in New York for the holiday shows. We're coming back again to do Christmas Collision and Dynamite on 34th Street around the holidays.
Yes, Hammerstein, right?
At Hammerstein.
Yes.
They were great events last year, and they really set the stage to come in and have this great year we're having now. And, looking at it back then, I was thinking, okay, well, the new year's about to start. This is uncharted territory. We've never done the simulcast. We've never done Dynamite live on Wednesday. It's still on TBS, but now we're also going to have people watching on HBO Max.
See, this is the problem. Let's listen to this.
Collision's still going to be on TNT, but we'll have people watching on HBO Max. My thought is we're going to have some new viewers that have never watched before coming on HBO.
Okay, not a lot of those at all. That's the lowest number of people. Oh yeah, just because we're on Max, a bunch of new people are going to watch this wrestling show. No, that's got to be like the lowest metric in your fucking mind of who's going to turn this thing on.
HBO Max. We're also possibly going to have some cord cutters that have been away from cable.
There you go. So people, they maybe cut the cord. They might come back to AEW because you can give them a fair shake and say, okay, some of the viewers they've lost over the years, same as SmackDown, they're cord cutters. You can apply it across the board. Okay, again, not a huge, it's not as everyone's cutting the cord. It's not, well, no, it is drastic. It is, but it's like it's been happening for a long time now. Gradually. So Tony's like in the midst of that. I don't fucking know, right? Like when did AEW start? 6 years ago? The cord cutting conversation has been going on for a fucking decade now already, So some people coming back to it through Max. Okay, I'll give you that one. Okay, maybe. But let's say, so are you guys had 1 million watching you every week, 900,000. Let's even go low. Now the number's like 600 to 400,000. And those people, it'll fluctuate depending what else is on. That's like 200,000 people on TV. Every week, do those 200, so you mean I'm supposed to believe that 200,000 magical appear out of thin air on Max? No. We can look at the numbers, like with the big panel, Nielsen, whatever the fuck they call it now. And there's like 200,000 people that will fluctuate on Dynamite now. And the number went all the way down from 1 million to it does like 600,000 or below on average. And sometimes it'll go up to 600 and some thousand, and sometimes it'll be 400 and whatever thousand now. That's normal for Dynamite now. Okay. So there's like 200,000 people who fluctuate just on TBS. You know what I mean? On not streaming. So are they all just watching it on streaming some weeks? Are they, you know what I mean? Like, how do you, like, so I'm supposed to believe there's another 200,000 on top of that just cord cut and found it on here, but your numbers plummeted, but you didn't have that many people watching you before streaming was a factor. Do you guys get the math I'm doing here? Like, you already lost more than that before you went to streaming. You can't attribute it all to fucking one thing. Like, it's this, like, and he doesn't know the numbers. If I was Ariel, this is where Ariel fucked up. He should have said, well, what about the pay-per-view numbers since they're through streaming? Does HBO give you those? And if they don't, holy fuck. I get not knowing every single Dynamite, but like blood and guts, you're not even going to tell me the numbers. Tony can't pick up the phone and figure out what the numbers were for that shit, even if they keep them private. You mean to tell me the pay-per-views he doesn't know the numbers? That's a fucking L. Big L. Rest in peace. That's a big L, dude.
Back to AEW on HBO Max. But I was prepared for a possibility that there could be some erosion or cannibalization of the cable audience, which did not happen. It came out the other way. In Q1, Q2, and Q3, if you look, our share went up and our total audience went up.
Okay.
So we have this really great success story.
So he's saying this year, Q1, Q2, Q3, the audience went up overall. Yeah, that's a bullshit stat from the end of last year, which year over year, you can look at overall, it's way the fuck down, though. So it went up again on the case. Okay. What about the year over fucking year? And that is good that you can pull that for Q1, Q2, Q3. What about now you're posting your lowest key demos in regular time slots and your lowest numbers, tying your lowest ratings in history for both Dynamite and Collision just this week for key demos and for viewership, tying your second and third lowest viewerships and shit. So it's like you can cherry pick those things, and I don't blame him for doing that. Again, he's got to promote his shit. But like it's my job. Ariel's not going to press him on it. That's what I do, you know. I'm voting for him now
because we don't get the same kind of numbers in Q4. There's been this big change in the Nielsen system,
yes,
which is why it was great to see this huge number we did last week for us, because it was like, well, that's the best number we've done since the change, and so clearly there was a great response to it. But also, Collision the previous Saturday had done the best number it had done since the change in this system. So we're seeing good response, and we've really closed the gap. It's kind of like in the pandemic. If you look at where AEW
is, closed the gap. Closed what gap? With WWE. What? It's not even what he's talking about. You used to have 1 million people watching your show, asshole. The fuck are you talking about? Close the gap. The gap in fucking Meltzer's parting hairpiece? The gap in your fucking brain with saying some shit like this? Like, even AEW fucking fans are like, whoa, okay, come on now. And he literally just says, we don't know the numbers, but we've closed the gap if the numbers that I think because of the NFL that we probably have. Whoa, you guys are fucking cooked.
Is as a percentage of the WWE shows.
That's cooked. That's fucking cooked. Close the gap to what? SmackDown that's still doing over 1 million viewers? And if they took their streaming numbers from globally, the SmackDown's ranked in the top 10 on Netflix globally every fucking week, along with NXT and Raw and shit internationally. Like, closed what gap? I just don't. He's make-believing that there's like 300, 400, 500,000 people watching on Max, bro. It's actually fucking nuts. And he just said he doesn't even know the numbers. He doesn't even know the pay-per-view numbers. He doesn't even know the pay-per-view numbers. And Meltzer goes, oh, well, a source said. No, you just estimated based off bullshit. Look at Switchblade's tracking of Google Trends and who's watching and where the pay-per-views, right? That's, you know, that'd be more fair. Dave doesn't do that. And then he just adds 30% because of Amazon. Literally, we've pulled his card on that 1 billion times. And Tony buys into this shit, man. He's bought in. Like, someone, they must just treat him like a fucking, like just a little kid, you know? I don't, who's he talking to in WBD doesn't show the numbers to him? I mean, that's nuts.
This is
That's
really
nuts.
one
As
of our
the owner
strongest.
of the company, dude. That's crazy. And he could be lying here too. That's the other thing. He could just be lying. I honestly don't. And he's just a scumbag, like lying through his teeth. But I don't know. I think if he knew them, he'd flex them. I think if they were flexible, they'd be flexing them, right? That's what people do with good numbers. They flex them.
Runs. And if you look at where WWE is, say the audience of Dynamite compared to SmackDown, for example, or Raw, this is a great time for us. And you would say that along with some of the peak times in AEW, this is right there is 2025 right now. What's happening, that the AEW audience as a percentage of the competition is about as good as it's ever been. And with the streaming audience, like I said at the start of the year, I wasn't sure if the cable audience, where they would go. And actually with the cable audience at the start of the year, and then again, as the year went on, grew. So that was pretty exciting. And so
How did it
from the
grow?
first three
What the
quarters,
fuck are
that's
you
the
talking
case.
about?
And now they track the data differently. So we'll see how this goes, but we're in the fourth quarter. And so far it's been this awesome year.
So that's the biggest liar crock of shit he told during this whole thing. This is the part that I took exception with.
you goddamn liar!
Liar! This was the part where I was like, okay, fuck you, buddy, you're lying, but whatever. I mean, again, what did everyone expect? What did everyone expect? I don't know what people expected. So he talks about why Ric Flair wasn't at AEW, and he just talks about how Ric Flair's arm was in a sling. Nothing more than the dirt sheet said, so we don't need to cover that. But Tony Khan says that WWE, speaking of legends, has never contacted him about Adam Copeland being part of the John Cena retirement tour. So did Dave say that or what? Who said that?
You know, poor people don't like AEW.
I don't know who said that, but Tony Khan shutting it down.
Did WWE ever ask to use Adam Copeland as part of the John Cena retirement tour?
No.
Is his deal up at any point to where he could be used?
I mean, I never say never in wrestling, because I would imagine they could always extend that date past the end of the year. But no, Adam's going to be here with us through the year, and he's really a huge part of
push
AEW.
because they're bringing, like yesterday, they brought back Dolph Ziggler and some other, Matt Cardona came back last week, and so there was this big push for him to be the last one. But obviously, he's under contract with you. I was wondering if there was ever a conversation about that.
Adam Copeland is a huge part of AEW, and I have so much respect for him, and I really, really like Adam a lot, and I'm glad to have him here, and he's away filming, but he's with...
See the way that he answers this compared to Jericho? Jericho's always welcome. The door's always open. He can always come back. I mean, come here when he's done in WWE. I mean, right? And then with this, he's like, yes, Adam Copeland's here. He's going to be a part of AEW for a long time. Boom. And, allegedly, again, according to Hughes,
Allegedly.
him and Christian re-signed like big
and
deals.
he's going to stay with us.
Did
Moving along here. We got a couple more left, guys. Okay, we went through the whole goddamn thing. Almost. Tony Khan has asked if he has any concerns how a new WBD ownership would affect his deal with them. Now, this is interesting here as well.
And
it'd be funny if the Saudis bought it just for meme online meltdown purposes.
Have a new ownership. Even yesterday, I saw that Saudi Arabia interested in purchasing them. Do you have any concerns about how a new ownership would affect your standing, your deal with them?
Well, I feel really great about AEW's relationship with Warner Brothers Discovery, and I think it's
what happens when they get bought
situation for us, that we're one of those strong franchises, like I said, on multiple channels and properties where AEW's clearly very strongly figured in. Just as an example, we've got the huge pay-per-view this Saturday. It's presented by DC as a presenting sponsor, which I think
it's cool, bro. But DC's like, DC's hurting, man. Okay.
Anybody looking at Warner Brothers would say that this is a really important part of the portfolio.
Warner Brothers hurting, dude.
And for DC to be sponsoring
They're
us,
trying to sell books to sickos, bro. That's why they hired a sicko to have him doing Kenny Omega's moves and the shit. They're trying to sell some books to sickos, okay? They're going real niche in that direction.
And also the kinds of collaborations they're doing with us. We partnered on Dynamite episode 300 the week before AEW All In Texas. There were ads and collabs with the stars of Superman, with stars from AEW. There's been some great partnerships across DC now doing comic books with AEW, with the big stars from AEW crossover in comics. And we did a panel with DC at New York Comic Con. And then also DC now, for the first time ever, presenting an AEW pay-per-view, and it's this Saturday. So
which is cool. I'm down with that.
We're becoming a bigger and bigger.
Here's the thing. I'm not one of these haters. Like, I don't want to bury like comic books and superhero movies and shit because it took so long for us to get them, you know, and get them to where they're taken seriously. And so like, I don't want to shit on it, but it's like, bro, yeah, that's cool that they're, you know, he's like, it's this major thing. It's like, I guess the crossover with Superman, I guess that's kind of major, but I don't know. Yeah, I guess I'm
your part.
I'm just being sour, I guess.
And now it's been 6 years.
I'm just tired of towing shit, I think.
Continue to become a bigger part of the Warner Brothers family. So I feel like no matter what happens in the
they use AEW to sponsor all their shit. So it's not like this is some huge thing. They did it with the Minecraft movie. That's bigger than anything DC's doing right now. You know what I mean? And they're gonna fucking use your show that's live, that has 500,000 people watching it live, to sell ads and plaster fucking ads all over AEW to sell their books and to fucking promote their Superman movie and promote their Minecraft thing. Like, of course they're gonna do that. And they do have like a decent relationship with WBD, but it is interesting that he's talking about all this shit while not really answering the question. Like, dude, what happens if it sells though? Like, what if they go, fuck all this bullshit? You know, we're going to be in business with TKO now.
Sure, I think we're
over here now. We're over here now. Hickory dickory duck. This beach was sucking my cock.
A really important part of that family. And also for different media properties, thankfully, because I'm on the NFL fan engagement and major events committee and have had a lot of experience in football in the NFL and in the Premier League, and now with AEW, dealing with a lot of media partners. I have strong relationships with almost every media property out there. You know, thankfully, the NFL is and continues to be the strongest media and sports organization, in my opinion, in the world.
Yes.
And the NFL is in a really strong position, and we deal with a lot of these great partnerships. My dad is basically any committee I'm not on, my dad's on, and he's involved in probably about half of the NFL committees. And there's very few and far between that he's not involved in some way, whether it's business ventures and all the different finances and every aspect of the league practically he's involved in. So he's really, really built such an amazing thing. And I'm so lucky to be in the position I'm in, but also I've learned so much from him. And I have to say that, you know, he's built these great relationships. And now with AEW, I built a lot of relationships. And between the two of us, we've engaged with almost every media property and have great relationships. So I think that's going to continue. But most importantly for AEW, we've got a great relationship with Warner Brothers Discovery and the leadership right now. And that has put us in a great position for AEW.
And the leadership right now, okay, that's what he's asking. What if that all just changes? Then what? And then he's like, we have relationships with every like media property that's out there. Okay, then why are none of them in the AEW business? Well, because we have a great relationship with Warner Bros. Okay, but WWE has great relationships with every media property too. And they're on every fucking media property. You guys know what I'm saying? Like, they are on all this shit. And again, I'm not the one who started comparing AEW to WWE fucking E, okay? I'm not the one who says we're closing the gap on the ratings over here when that's not true, okay? So, again, you want to compare it to WWE when Ariel didn't even ask you that? Let's compare it to WWE when nobody asked me that. Bro, they are on all these different properties or whatever the fuck. They have their fingerprint everywhere. You fucking don't, dude. So where are these relationships? Like, the funniest thing ever would be the Saudis. I don't want it to happen, man. Saudis are taking everything over. But like in the sports world and entertainment world. They're doing comedy festivals there and shit now, but it's like the funniest thing would be if they bought in and owned 5% and of AEW and then are like, we like WWE. What is this shit? AEW crossover with WWE. They just take all the big stars. AEW becomes like Evolve. No. Tony Khan speaks on if he regrets showing the backstage brawl between CM Punk and Jack Perry. We already covered that. Tony Khan compares his booking strategy to the Ghostbusters movie because it's not always the same Ghostbusters hanging out. And he literally said that. I couldn't find a clip of that part. This is what Tony Khan here. I don't even know
because you can make a mistake, and if you make a series of mistakes.
So here's Tony Khan speaking about Ghostbusters and his booking philosophy. He might not bring up Ghostbusters here, but he's talking about like, if you make a mistake, you don't make that mistake again. Meanwhile, he fumbled Rhodes, fumbled Punk. Jericho might dip out, and they keep doing gorier and crazier spots, and it's not helping them at all. And he keeps making the same mistakes of having the same match types, casino battle royals, belts, burying belts with more belts. And he just, it's, you know, he keeps literally making the same mistakes over and over, going back to the same people.
That you can't go backwards, you can only go forwards, and you can only learn from the things you've done. So I'm very fortunate. I think about it all the time to still be in the chair because you can make a mistake, and if you make a series of mistakes and you go down a wrong path in pro wrestling, you can end up in a place that nobody comes back from. And look how many people in pro wrestling went down that door of making a mistake after mistake, and then they were gone. And sometimes it's not their fault. It's due to extenuating circumstances you can't control. But I'm fortunate that if I make a mistake, that I've always been able to go back and look at it or figure out what can we do to make the next show perfect, or make sure I don't do that again, because I really think that course correcting, making sure that we are always on point for the next show is a really strong aspect of AEW. I think that's part of the consistency. And, you know, on the one hand, I could say I've only been a wrestling promoter for 6.5 years, and I've only been booking and producing wrestling shows for 6.5 years. On the other hand, that's one of the longest runs anybody's ever had.
Sure.
So I've been fortunate to learn a lot of things, and I'm fortunate that tomorrow I get to do another one and
buy his way into lasting this long. Is what's so funny.
Saturday I get to do another pay-per-view, and I'm never ungrateful for that. I'm always very grateful to the fans who watch the shows that we're still in this position.
Oh man, that's so goddamn funny. I was able to buy my way into being one of the longest bookers for the longest amount of time. So he's asked about the state of the booking process.
And so now, as far as AEW is concerned, you're still the head booker. Is it just you? Are you the judge and jury, or is there a committee? And if so, there's always questions, I think, as to like who's in the committee. So could you tell us like what is the sort of state of the booking process right now?
Well, I put the shows together, and this year I feel like I've been especially hands-on at every episode about every aspect of every segment in a way that I was in Daly's place in the pandemic. And at the beginning of the year, I kind of said, since the last year's holidays, that I was going to step back and look at it for a moment like I did 5 years earlier. And Christmas 2019, I had said, you know, there's a couple things that I knew might not work, and I did them against my best judgment. So why would I ever do that? Don't ever do that. And it's like a diet. You do your best to stick to it. Nobody's perfect, but like, you know, every once in a while I still might do something against my better judgment, but I kind of told myself, stop doing things against your better judgment. So even in January, and it was the same exact thing too, where in January 2020, there were one or two things where I said, why did I do that? I said I wasn't going to do that, but then kind of caught myself, and I did that.
So every couple of years, Tony Khan has to like have a come to Jesus moment where he's like, okay, let's step back and reconfigure everything. And then he just goes back to the same, we'll do a belt again. And then a battle royal. Mox, you keep just like doing what you're doing. And yeah, everyone, Bucks, you guys just do whatever you want to do. You guys are cool. And great, things are fresh again
this year. And I really felt
great.
Like it's been it's been a lot like the shows like I would have put together in the pandemic, where I come in with more of an outline of everything I want to do, but I also like hearing everyone's ideas and I utilize them. So I feel like we have a really good group of people. It's evolving and changing. And the one consistent thing is there's one person that's at all the shows, and it's me. And that's the thing, is there's not any other one person that goes to every show. There's 100.
So that's the problem. So I've been right this entire time. You need to step back a little bit and put some people in place, maybe, who can liven and freshen it up, a different look, and help you make
Just
sense
in
of
from
this
Phil
shit,
Marks of
because
PWT. He says, I told you so.
because you're the common denominator. You're the through line this whole time. And it's just been going down, 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 down until Punk shows up, and then it goes up, and then it goes down, 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 down again.
And well, there's 104 Dynamites and Collisions, because now that there's Dynamite and Collision, there's 2 shows a week. Wednesday nights Dynamite on TBS, and now HBO Max as well. Saturday nights Collision on TNT, also on HBO Max, like this Saturday, but it's on an hour earlier for the tailgate brawl. Well, the only person that goes to all those TVs and the pay-per-views is me. There's not one other person. There's a lot of great people that help out, people that work in different departments, wrestling, creative, and they could be coaches. It could be senior figures. I have great people who could contribute ideas, like everybody from Bryan Danielson, who's an all-time legend in wrestling, but also has some great ideas, and different people on the staff. And it's a great group of women and men, but among all of them, the only person that goes to every TV is me. So I have a pretty consistent idea of what I'd like to do, but also whoever's in the room of coaches and staff that day, I will talk to them and hear out their ideas, but it might be a different group. It's kind of like, do you like Ghostbusters?
I used to, yeah.
You know that
Ghostbusters
scene in Ghostbusters,
Boston makes me feel
I
good.
always think of it this way, and this is pretty convoluted, but
Let me
this will
see
give
if
you
I-
insight into my thinking. There's a scene in Ghostbusters with Ray and Winston, and
Is this
they're
the original?
the original Ghostbusters,
okay.
and they're just driving in the car down on the bridge here in New York, and it's Ray and Winston. And then I realized, and I'm like, that's not the 2 that you always see together. It's just like shifts, and like you get different pairs of people, and like if that makes sense, like you might see Ray with Egon, or you might see him with Bankman, Bill Murray, or with Winston. But it was like, it's different shifts. Like the whole movie, it hasn't just been Ray and Winston, but they're in the car now. This is their day. This is their shift. Within every group of people, there's subgroups, and it's not always the ones you think when you see the people walk.
What the fuck are you talking about, Lex? What the fuck is this guy?
I don't know.
And stand together. So I have a different group of people at almost a different combination of people than I did at the beginning, but I think there's been a common thread and a consistency. And I like that from show to show, because I feel like I have a good sense of what AEW.
Bro, he's so off. Bro, you don't have a good sense, Tony, and you lack self-awareness. I'm going to explain why. Because is this also the reason why we don't always, like for the longest time, we didn't always see the same people? Like you want to have the same people on TV. Like you want people to know, like, okay, I'm tuning into Raw. I'm going to see Rusev. I'm going to see Dom. I'm going to see Penta for sure. I'm going to see, maybe Rhodes pops up. I'm going to see Punk. I'm going to see Becky. Like, who you're going to see on that show. Is that why for the longest time there was no consistency in that? You know what I mean? Because Ghostbusters
is, and I am a fan of wrestling, but also since
AEW has no identity. The worst thing, Tony Khan just said this. Listen to this part. The worst thing that they convey in AEW is what is its identity. It just seems like it's a mashup of a bunch of bullshit, all the bullshit from every indie and other wrestling company before him. So it doesn't really have its own identity. Not yet, anyways.
Than I did at the beginning, but I think there's been a common thread and a consistency.
Listen to this.
And I like that from show to show, because I feel like I have a good sense of what AEW is, and I am a fan of
convey that on the show, because people don't have a sense of it.
Wrestling, but also since I've been here, I feel like I, have through the years followed the fans. I like to stay in touch with the fans and hear what they like and don't like about the show. And I feel
No, only a certain group of fans.
like 2025 in particular, I think we've done a really good job of
only the fans who are gonna like everything you do, no matter what, are the people you're gonna listen to.
Listening to the fans and putting on a really good show, you know. And I would say that start to finish, so far, we're in November. I think as far as doing the TV every week and the pay-per-views, this is my favorite year of shows personally.
Okay.
And everybody, it's cool thing about wrestling is it's all opinions.
True.
But for me, as far as how many great matches and how consistent everything's been and how happy I've been coming out of the events, it's my favorite year yet.
Well, I mean, that's the luxury of being a fucking billionaire, Tone. You know, you get to go home happy and you don't got to worry about even if you fuck up, because whatever, it's not like I'm going out of business. I'll be fine. I have $1 billion. What the fuck do I give a shit? So, yeah. Tony Khan talks Maven and Chris Nowitzki here, the last thing. And this is pretty telling. This is revealing. Again, and I saved this for last because ultimately at the end of the day, the reason Tone came back on Ariel Helwani show and is because he's heard Ariel say nice shit now. And that's the same thing with the fans. If you say nice shit, I want to give them what they want. Well, they just like whatever you do. You could take a shit in the ring, they'll defend it. But if you want this thing to blow up, and if you want more people to enjoy wrestling, and if you want wrestling to be left better than when you got into it, Tone, which he doesn't give a fuck about that at all. He literally could not care less about that. He just wants to do what he wants to do. But if you want to leave wrestling better than when you got into it, then you need to listen to people who might not agree with everything that you fucking think, you know, who's not going to kiss your
Maven's
ass.
the man.
Maven's a man, and he was a really...
I think you guys should have him on the broadcast. I think he's a great broadcaster.
You know what's...
He's a color analyst.
You know what's amazing? You want to hear something cool I've never said publicly?
I like that.
One of the people who... The person who is largely responsible for getting me into pro wrestling, I've been a fan my whole life, but I had never been backstage at a show, and I never really believed that I could take it to the next level. And I got to work with him through football because we both believe in protecting the players and doing everything we can to make football safe. And it's the man who started the Concussion Foundation with Chris Nowinski.
Yes.
And Dr. Chris Nowinski is one of my really great friends.
Wow.
And Chris Nowinski was on Tough Enough, and the final three on Tough Enough were Chris Nowinski and Maven, who came in and did this great thing with us. And so I was joking with Chris because Chris and I are still really close, and he also comes in every year to talk to the wrestlers and gives a really serious speech because I want them to hear it about head safety and them. They want to take these high risks and chances, but I want them to hear it straight from Chris that it's really important that they are cognizant and that they hear the message he's giving, that it.
So they don't listen to any of you motherfuckers.
Really, we want to be as safe as possible because Chris was a pro wrestler.
Yeah, I remember.
And he cares about this. So
here's the thing. And if you guys are joined up on the Patreon, you guys will know because Chris Nowitzki and Maven and Josh Matthews, who he talks about, are on the first season of Tough Enough, which the live finale goes up tonight, actually. And I watched the whole season there. And, you know, Nowitzki was, I know it's like, oh, I got concussions in wrestling, but he was all concussed from football and shit too. And you actually realize that in that show. Anyways, moving along.
Chris comes in every year and I see him and
Tony reveals he gets Chris Nowitzki to come in and talk to everybody about concussion protocol. Okay. Well, nobody's listening.
And Chris, you know, I had this great interaction with Maven and I hadn't ever talked to him. The only time I'd ever really seen him in person was after a house show on Halloween when I was in college, Halloween 2004. And I brought that up to Maven when he was shooting his video, and he was like, thought that was really neat. That
I remember this.
And he was such a nice guy. So I was telling Chris that. But the other reason I bring this up is Josh Matthews now works in our production.
That's right. That's right.
And there you go. I told you, motherfuckers.
Josh is now a big part of
every show. I'm like, Josh Matthews works there, right? That's the last I heard. And people are like, I think he got fired. So no, there you go. Tony just
the production team, and he's working with Mike Mansouri and Daryl and all the guys.
Mike may be my favorite person in the business. Mike Mansouri.
Really?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Really?
I adore Mike. Yes.
That's all. I love Mike.
I met him.
Mike.
I met him right before the pandemic. He was still at
hired him.
WWE, and he took me on a tour backstage. And I was like, this guy's the coolest. And then he left like a week later, and then he went to work for Pat McAfee, if
Yeah.
you recall, and then now he's working for you in a high production. And love him.
He's the head of global production.
His
His
wife is wonderful as well.
Corey's amazing.
Yes. So you've got, and Renee. I'm a big fan of Renee.
Renee's awesome.
You see, I'm a big fan of a lot of your guys. I think
this is good. I think we just needed to do it in person.
They go on to say, though, like Tony, after that moment, he goes on to say, like, well, I
Maven's the
heard you
man.
guys.
Maven's a man.
I heard you guys saying great things, and so that's why we could do this again. For sure, we'll get more wrestlers down here. Because Ariel's like, oh, well, we should get more AEW wrestlers here too if we can now. Like, he's like, yeah, I heard you guys saying really good things, and so it's like, yeah. So they fucking kiss up, and then they're allowed to interview guys again. That's how it works. And you know what they say, ladies and gentlemen, all together now. Well, that was the best guys, Tony Khan. Ichi Nissan. For AEW News. Let's go. Guys, it is the 200th live show of PWT. We're going to do some WWE news. We're going to fly through some WWE news. Thank you so much for all of these supports and hanging out and everything like that. So guys, the live shows, if you're on Pro Wrestle Times channel, make sure you're subbed to the Pro Wrestle Clips channel, because we're not doing the simulcast anymore. And yes, these shows will go unedited and all of that in case anything has to get clipped out over on Patreon, starting on the next show and everything as well. Make sure you guys check out the Patreon. There's a lot of exclusive content over there. You guys fucking rule. That was amazing, dude. That was fucking amazing. Let's get into some WWE news. Might as well fire through all of this. One of the best Raws. Fucking watching that Raw was like, dude, this is why I love WWE. Like, WWE will just be forever goated, because only in that company do you get moments like that, and all of these major superstars showing up on a show, and they're in MSG, and the vibes. It was just crazy. NXT was crazy as well. Tatum Paxley lost her belt, which we're not going to talk too much about. But ladies and gentlemen, it is time for So speaking of NXT, the CW Network president of entertainment, Brad Schwartz, says, who wears Schwartz? Schwartz says that the women of NXT are better than the men. So there you go. There's his opinion on that. What else do we got here? WWE Friday Night SmackDown. Tickets distributed 1,468. And the current setup's for 4,200. And that's on December 19th, dude. That's 1 month away. Time cop. So hopefully they can step that up there. John Cena did an interview with Sam Roberts here, and he says that he isn't going out on his own terms.
And you're going to get to go out on your terms. How important is that to you?
So I don't want to. That's a perspective. I'm not going out on my own terms. If I could do this in infinity, I would do it. This is where I feel the most fluent. This is where I feel safe. This is where I feel at home. Yes, the audience has let me into their living room every week for 23 years, but they've also let me into their lives. And by going across the world and doing all these conventions and meeting all these fans, one fan at a time, hearing the stories of how me playing dress up and living my imagination and living my taking opportunities and trying to make it the best I can has affected their life. I want to do this for infinity, but I can't.
Yeah.
So I want to make it specific, and I'm not going out on my own terms. I made a promise to the fan base when I started that when I got a step slower, I got to walk away. And the sad thing is, us as fans see that and be like, but you got so much left. Yeah, I could probably squeeze out more matches, but at what cost? I do harm to myself. I do harm to the product. And you as a fan who's allowed me the opportunity for over 2 decades to spend time with you, you leave feeling bad or sad. No, I want everyone to be happy. And moreover, I want to take the tail end of this thing. And I'm so glad about the tournament and about Saturday night's main event and get everybody to look at the future of the business. Because I believe that's whatever energy was given to me, the veterans and old timers gave me
See, Tony Khan leaving the business better than how you found
their
it.
energy and equity by teaching me and certainly doing honors. And forever the tradition has been, oh, your last match, you kind of go out in your back and you do the honors and that's it. No, I think we can do more. I think we can take the eyes that care about.
Oh, dude, he's going to bury the Nexus again, ain't he? He's going to beat the entire NXT roster in one night. So, speaking of John Cena, here's trying Brian's way. Like, again, so they, like, Brian and Dave, they do this goddamn thing where they take like Cena's quote about, like, I'm not going out on my own terms. And then it's like, oh, yeah, if he was, he wouldn't be fed bad. It's evil. No, did you just hear his goddamn explanation as to why he's not? It's because he said he would do it forever.
This was a historic Raw. It was the final Raw in the career of John Cena. And it was a show that when it was over, whatever you want to say about WWE, this promotion felt hot. They did a lot of build for the
we just spent a week talking about how it's ice cold, but it's the peak is over, and then they hit us with a show like this, and it felt hot. It's not really hot, but it felt like it's hot. Fucking loser.
Survivor Series show. We had John Cena's final Raw match. They had 18,000 people in Madison Square Garden, who mostly were going wild for the entire show. They were super into a lot of the matches. Some of them took longer to get going than others. They were not into talking segments. They certainly did love all of the...
No, they were into them. They were wutting. Wutting doesn't mean they're not into it. It can, but it doesn't always mean that, okay?
The entrances, it's a
Wutting is just like funny. You're in New York. It's like, I don't get why people get triggered by that shit.
Promotion all about entrances, and they got all their entrances here. But the big story was the end of John Cena's WWE career, his final Raw. John Cena really, like, legitimately is about getting over the young talent. He wants to see young talent step up. He wants to give young talent an opportunity. Honestly, I think if he really had his way, his retirement run would have been a little bit different. I think he would have had more matches with young guys like Javon Evans. And I thought he was going to have a match with JD here, but instead they jump in.
So he could lose to them all, or like, what are you saying? Or like he just beat them all? Right? He's already done things like put over Solo in theory and shit. This whole, like, it's not on my terms if it's my way. Cena's way has always been fucking the WWE way. And if he ain't gonna lose to No Nexus, he's gonna say it. So, like, come on. It has been his way.
And then Sheamus and Rey Mysterio's music hit. They run down, and we end up having a 6-man.
Yeah, I don't fucking know. It's always just like, it's never anything valid. Speaking of valid, or do we have any more Cena shit? Speaking of valid, man. No, I think we got some CM Punk stuff. So defang the police. CM Punk went from he's in this movie. Okay, Night Patrol with Justin Long. Cop movie. Everyone check. I'm gonna watch the shit out of that. So Zelina Vega was nominated for an award at the 2025 Streamer Awards for her collaboration with Cena or whatever. So that's cool. It's a big deal for her. Speaking of big deal for them, Natty Neidhart showed up at the wrestling club, which was awesome for these kids. Road Warrior pops, dude. So speaking of some of the ladies in WWE, Rusev and CJ Perry, Lana, are expecting a child. Okay, so good for them. All the best wishes their way. We talked about SmackDown, And there's reportedly a feeling, according to Brian Alvarez, that a feeling within WWE that the move back to 3 hours for SmackDown at the start of 26 won't be permanent. Dude, they said that the 2 hours wouldn't be permanent too. And so Brian Alvarez, Shrine Brian, has this fucking conspiracy theory again that it has some shit to do with Braun Strowman's show. And he's just like, the Braun Strowman show is doing great. Number one, because Strowman is involved and he's a big name to wrestling fans. And also, apparently, it's a really good show. Go figure. A good show with name recognition. Oh, so they want to hijack it. The show's beating NXT and Dynamite. Yeah, it's a food show. Why? Because more casuals watch it. Dumb fucks. That's how well the Braun Strowman show is doing. I think Braun Strowman show goes through to the end of the year. So when that show ends, I guess they're going to move back to 3 hours again. Whatever, Brian, shut up. You know? Chad Gable is expected to be at the PC this week to work towards his return to the ring. What do they do with the El Grandes? That's what I don't know, man. What do they do with the El Grandes? Hopefully they have a face-off or something. So Tatum Paxley now has the shortest NXT women's reign in history at 24 days. So she got beat up by the Culling and they threw her in the ring and then, or the Culling, whatever. They threw her in the ring and then she lost. So whatever. I mean, that was how you do a title win for her like that. Then you give it back to JC Jane. Makes sense. I like the booking there. You know, Tatum's popular and it just helps her popularity. People are going to want to see her get her title back, you know? So here's more trying Brian, okay? Just trying way too hard. And he's like, talks about how people weren't happy backstage in WWE with the interview Gigi gave, talking about how people in NXT are making only 30 grand.
She was talking about how people overestimate how much everybody makes in NXT, and she mentioned that like people made as little as $30,000, and man, people in WWE were not happy with that interview because nobody's making $30,000 in NXT. The NXT deals start at $75,000. So if you're on television, wrestling on NXT television as a contracted performer, you're making at minimum $75,000. Now, if you are a Jordan Grace or you're a Ricky Saints or whoever, you're obviously going to be making more than that. And there have been others that have gone and made. Ridge Holland was making more because he had a main roster deal, and then they cut his deal when he went to NXT, but he was still making more than $75,000. And nobody's making $30,000. But at the same time, the WWE ID talent, nobody's making close to $30,000. They're making significantly less. Their low money deals were basically, you're given like per diems, you're given money to upgrade your gear, you're given money to kind of just upgrade your look and give WWE the right to sign you to a WWE deal if you're given an offer elsewhere. Or, after a while they can decide we're not interested anymore and off you go.
So sounds like a pretty sweet deal and sounds like a bunch of fucking crying from people making tens of thousands of dollars. And yeah, I don't fucking know, man. Speaking of ID, congratulations to the new ID Women's Champion, Lainey Luck. So Lainey Luck has been WWE ID'd, and she is the ID champion there. So Maven, we talked about Maven earlier, and he talks about why Triple H doesn't like him, and he's been going off lately on WWE a little bit.
At the end of the day, Hunter does not like him.
Does he not?
Nah, never.
Genuine.
We're cordial. But if there's anybody who hated the way I came into the business, it's him.
Yeah.
And I will forever, in his eyes, be the tough enough guy.
Wrong. I disagree. I think he would be way more open to that concept now because look at the NIL and the ID and the way that they're bringing people in and they're finding social media stars like Logan Paul. I think he'd be way more into the idea of like a reality TV show. It's just reality TV shows don't hit the way they used to, especially not that type of competition show.
I feel like he's changed a lot.
Hell yeah.
No.
Yeah. No. He hated CM Punk, apparently. And look at those.
Okay.
They're hugging it out. You bring something to the table, you get a seat, right?
Yeah, but Punk proved that he could be a draw. I never proved that. To him.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You're doing it right, motherfucker. Now.
Yeah, Maven, like that's what Ariel suggested to Tony Khan. Like someone should bring Maven in as like a Maven here. Like I would way rather, no offense to Sam Roberts and Megan Morant, but like Maven interviewing, doing what he does content wise, but for WWE for their YouTube channel or whatever, it could work. You know, just like an elevated version of that. A lot of people are angry at Maven. I don't know. It seems like that there's like a group of like Coachman, Maven, Vince Russo. They're all starting like the bitter haters club towards WWE, which is fine. But again, it's all people who sort of worked with Triple H back when he was a talent, when he was a politic and prick. And I mean, now it's different. And that's their fucking prerogative. I don't care if MVP doesn't like Triple H. It affects me none. You know?
Yeah, no, I don't know.
But I think Maven's wrong in that assessment. I think now internet darlings and shit are what they'd be willing to bring in. Speaking of podcasts, though, according to Variety, WWE will be launching a new YouTube channel for The Undertaker, which will be home of his 6 Feet Under podcast. Bro, first off, why isn't there just a channel for all the Fanatics pods? They're all keeping them separate because each wrestler wants to keep their chunk of their ad revenue from YouTube and da-da-da. I get all that. So they're starting a whole new channel because his old channel, like you had your old channel and your own show and you owned it. Like, what the fuck are you doing, Undertaker? It's so stupid. Pitch something different. Pitch Me and My Wife Bake or some shit. Like, why are you doing fucking wrestler interviews with Michelle McCool? It just ruined his whole thing, you know. Speaking of people bringing life into this world, like Rusev and Lana, Lexis King announced that him and Carolina Cruz, who I'm always putting over, she's a trooper, and they're introducing not one but 2 new members to our family. So they had twins, man. So round of applause to them for starting a family and bringing more Pillmans into the world. That should be good. Speaking of NIL, WWE signed Nebraska track and field star Megan Walker to an NXT Performance Center deal. She was signed to an NIL deal before, but now upgraded there a little bit. We talked about SmackDown earlier, and it garnered its second best audience since Nielsen changed to the big data panel methodology. Averaged 1.15 million views, and the key demo was up. And there was a bunch of competition. So there you go. Speaking of Punk, he discussed the differences. Were we talking about Punk? I don't know. But he was talking about the differences in WWE pay structure. We were talking about pay structure and how people get paid, right? And he says the business has radically changed. It was a different place when I signed, then when I debuted, and then when I came back, such a radically different place. The thing with the title, too, is also it means you made more money back then. That doesn't exist anymore. It's good and bad. And that's where David Otunga pipes up. And we talked about like WWE haters kind of are popping up, people who used to work there. And Otunga's saying a lot of shit. Like he thinks there will be and I'm not saying he's a WWE hater. Again, I don't mean to be one of these guys that's like, there's so many people where, again, and it happens even in the people who listen to PWT, where like they want to hear me just trashing AEW. They don't want to hear me when I'm critical of WWE. And that's fine if you choose to block it out. But there are some fair criticisms and there are some fair notions. Like, yeah, I agree with Otunga that wrestlers could be closer to unionizing now because of shit Punk said. Like, you get the belt, it doesn't mean you get paid more. You know, that's gone now. And some things have changed. And, but Otunga, he goes off on like these WWE contracts, and this made some people mad. Some people are calling out Ariel. They're like, "Oh, what are you just hating on fucking WWE now and shit?" I don't know, man. I just think Ariel's talking to who he wants to talk to. I'm okay with
because here's the thing, and we had to get into this. I made a whole video about this.
Yeah.
So WWE says that wrestlers are independent contractors, which means they can work anywhere. Right. So if they're fired from WWE, if a wrestler's fired from WWE, they should be able to go work for AEW.
Yeah, same with UFC fighters. It's all the same. This goes across the board in combat sports, realistically.
Now, if this was an employer-employee,
I guess boxing, they make you fight, like, they make you fight everyone. But even boxers politic and dance around fighting each other and shit. And you don't fight like everyone, but there will be like mandatory, you got to fight this guy. He's ranked 8th or whatever, but it's mandatory because you have to defend this title and that's the next thing. Whatever. They have things like that. But yeah, it's interesting to see Dana White trying to skirt this as well. And I think they're trying to get rid of the Ali Act and stuff like that before he launches his Zuffa boxing shit.
Relationship, that's a different story, because then there could be a non-compete. However, so WWE can't have it both ways. They're treating wrestlers like independent contractors. Or no, they're saying wrestlers are independent contractors, but treating them like employees. That's the issue here.
Yeah.
And that could easily be challenged in court and likely, you would win.
See, they always say that. It could easily and likely you'd win. Okay, then why doesn't anyone fucking do it and win? That's the thing. So someone shut the fuck up and do it already, because that's the part of being an independent contractor too. If they say you work for us, you can't work for our competitors while you work for us, that's totally, I've done jobs like that, dude, where I've had to sign a thing saying I can't go work for, and there's a list of names, and then they go, and any other similar whatever the fuck while I work there, dude. So that has no fucking it's not a job like, oh, I work at Best Buy and I do shifts over at the over at the Walmart and I work at Walgreens, and it's not like that, so that's part of the end up being an independent contractor, is agreeing, okay, the terms are, while I work here, I can't. Now, is that shiesty and shady? Sure. But at the same time, like, there's trade secrets involved and stuff like that, there's things that need to be protected, like IP and shit like that. So
why do you think no one has done that? Why has no one challenged them?
I think, I'll be honest, I think most people don't know this. Forgive me, but like, in being a lawyer myself, like I knew this from the time I signed, and I forgot most people aren't lawyers and they don't know what's in their WWE contract. And so like,
so you knew, but you didn't sue and get it. Why won't you? Because it benefits you more if you're independent, quote unquote, when you're making money and when you're successful in wrestling. That's why none of the top guys will unionize ever.
When I made
an MMA,
about
same
this,
problem.
I'll be honest, I was shocked by the reaction that it blew up, and people were really surprised by this. And I'm like, there's no way I'm the first person to have talked about this or mentioned this. Like, but I guess it just wasn't widely known. I guess a lot of talent, they sign that contract and never look at it again. But for me, I was always doing a lot of things outside of WWE, and the contract is very restrictive. So I was always asking for their permission to do something else, or sometimes I would go do something else and then let them know after the fact or after I booked it, and just beg for forgiveness.
So seems pretty independent contractory to me, no? Man, no? So we're coming off the heels of one of the, let me check in here, actually. Let me check in. Sauce Inc. for 5 says, you seen Robo in Dallas? It's cartoon with Cena and Kat Dennings. No, but I've heard of it. It's super fire and hella funny. You should see it. Yeah. I love Kat Dennings and I love John Cena. So that could totally, is it like for kids though? Because I don't know. Most of the animated shit I watch, if I do, it'll be like Invincible or something more adult oriented, but I appreciate that, Sauce. I will check that out eventually. Cash Monet's been a member for 11 goddamn months. Amazing.
Acknowledge me.
PWT 200, amazing. Don't forget Dave Meltzer, Dumb Moment of the Week, Double DMW, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, tomorrow night, okay? So we have this, we're coming off the heels of one of the best Raws in I don't know how fucking long. Raw's always been hitting. They were at MSG and the place was fucking rocking, full of surprises, booked incredibly well. There was some controversy afoot. There were some people who got a bunch of celebrities, right? There was the people you expected to see, some you didn't expect to see. And War Games Survivor Series is shaping up. They're treating it like one of WWE's big 4 events. And so it's, confirmed that Dominic Mysterio and John Cena will face each other at Survivor Series. Raw also garnered its highest U.S. ranking in show history, tied with 9 other episodes for last Monday's episode, with John Cena defeating Dom for the IC title, with the views being the highest since August. The show scored 2.8 million views globally for the week per Netflix, up 17%, 5.1 million hours viewed, blah, blah, blah. Views were tied with 811 and 818 as the highest since the post SummerSlam episode. The show ranked number 3 for the week on US. And yeah, it did awesome. So there's good reason for it. It was a spectacular episode. It started, John Cena came out, did his thing. They confirm he's taking on Dom at Survivor Series, and then a 6-man tag breaks out with the Judgment Day. Sheamus comes out, Ray comes out. They're hitting 5-knuckle shuffles. They're hitting 619s into finishers and shit. It was just awesome. Crowd was going nuts. Cena's last Raw, they kicked it off. It was fucking amazing. The crowd was red hot throughout the whole thing, right? And they had a couple surprises up their sleeve, one of which was Maxine Dupree won the Intercontinental title. Now, she had an excellent match with Becky Lynch, although at one point there was a botch where Maxine didn't really kick out. Now, to fansplain that away, it's like, okay, Becky was beefing with Jessica Carr, so she was being lenient with the shoulder being up in kayfabe, if we're to kayfabe sell it. But Maxine didn't kick out at one spot. That kind of fucked things up, man. It kind of killed the momentum that, I don't know. And she was doing okay, but she won the IC title. I'm so happy for her. And this is like AJ Lee versus Becky doesn't need a title. That's a draw without it needing a belt. It's like Punk and Drew, you're going to draw with that match. So this belt elevates Maxine. Becky and AJ Lee elevate the IC title. This belt elevates Maxine. This win over Becky, the way Becky sold for it and everything, I thought it was great. And it was just a solid moment. I don't know if people saw that coming. Maybe they thought Becky was going to actually just get the win over her so that we could get to AJ and Becky for the IC. But no, they put it on Maxine. I think it's a good move. I don't think she'll hold it for long either. I think this is sort of like, it's transitional, they'll give it to someone else who's going to like wrestle their ass off with it again. But this was just a moment to elevate Maxine there, And so that was very shocking. AJ Lee as well, coming out out of nowhere. Nobody saw that coming. Maybe she was slated to be there. I'm not sure. Another big moment we got was Nikki Bella. Well, we got it last week where she attacked Stephanie Vaquer and reveals like she's a fucking heel and doesn't like Steffi. And then that's when, Stephanie Vaquer comes out on Raw to address this. And then Nikki Bella just gloms her, beats her ass, cuts a great promo about like, I'm going to show you, like, I revolutionized this division and you reminded me who I was and everything. Like, I love that. I like heel Bella. I think that's way better. And then speaking of surprises, so, we're watching SmackDown and Zack Ryder comes back and he cuts a deal with WWE to where they can use his IP. I'm assuming like they're selling his fucking merch, and I'm willing to bet these guys will be in games, and there's going to be some TNA DLC allegedly. Okay, 2K26. All I'm saying, TNA. Me and Husey came on the show, and I've been saying this to you guys for like probably over a year. Okay, for like a year
allegedly
now, that 2K26, there's a good shot we see some TNA guys. Seeing Dolph Ziggler and Zack Ryder under those names and they can sell their merch and stuff, that's not too far-fetched. I would just throw that out there. And so hopefully that happens, and good for Nick Nemeth. I like that WWE's doing more of this shit. The pop for Dolph Ziggler, though. The pop for Ziggler. And the match was perfect. It was a perfect TV match where Ziggler got his shit over, but they had Solo get the win. And he got spiked by Solo. Solo gets the pin. That's the right move. You're not going to start putting over these older guys who, you know, are in TNA now and shit like that. And Solo said that. He's like, take your ass back to TNA after he beat him. It was funny. I don't know if you guys heard that or caught that, but Nick Nemeth, dude, Dolph Ziggler, I got to change his name on 2K and Cardona's name on 2K, just to Zack Ryder and Dolph Ziggler. And I like that WWE's willing to do this with some guys. Like, hey, you come back in, it's a crowd pop. We'll call you when we need you. Go make your money elsewhere. We're willing to work, you know, facilitate whatever the fuck. You put you in the video games again if you want, you know. I'm sure Ziggler gets a lot of downloads and shit in the community creation. So I enjoyed all of that. And the pop for Ziggler was just massive. And he got his shit in. It was a solid match. And I love this little return. He does the finger point with Triple H there. It's good to see. So here is Dolph Ziggler talking about his return. Okay, so he went on Busted Open because he works there, of course, and here's his take on his return.
In 20 years, I got to watch so many people hide under the ring or sit on a bus somewhere. I never got to do the hiding. So I had all black on, and I put like a ski mask over my face and sunglasses, and they pulled me into the loading dock inside of the building, and then I got walked in, and I got to hide out for like 5 or 6 hours. But they could have me back for any show in any city, and it would be cool and fun. I am very fortunate to have something like the Cena tournament, and like, hey, you have history with this guy, and like you don't even have to like force it. Like we have genuine history. It's like really cool. And then also getting to be in Madison Square Garden, also getting to come back after 2 years, all these positions and be a surprise, all these different pieces all added up to like, I was excited, but it's wrestling. We have these egos. We're crazy. I go, I hope they remember, because otherwise what am I doing here? And then music.
People are like, oh, Matt Cardona said he wouldn't come back. And even Dolph Ziggler's like, I don't think they're going to be bringing Dolph Ziggler on the main roster anytime soon or whatever. And then they do. And then people want to clown that in some way. And it's like, bro, you don't want that pop and that fucking paycheck?
Kids, and you get that 1/1000 of like, okay, they do. All right, let's go to work. Like that's the difference.
He thought people wouldn't remember him, bro.
In 20
talking about. And so we had more shocks, more shock and awe. So now surpassed 1 million views on WWE's official YouTube channel. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar emerged to alter the War Games landscape. So we were wondering who's going to be on which side. The Vision. They got Drew McIntyre, although Drew McIntyre came out separately from the Vision. So I don't know if he's fully in the group, but it appears Brock Lesnar is. And then the OTC comes out. So we have Lesnar and Reigns as the fifth men. What a star-studded War Games. Insane War Games. Brock's going to be in the War Games. Just nuts. And these two square off. Of course, they have a historic beef. Roman hit the Superman punch. Lesnar sold his ass off, goes flying like The Rock after he eats a stunner. And you know, he powders out, and it was awesome. It was just an awesome brawl. Everybody's brawling around the arena. The show, like Lesnar's music hit, the show's about to go off air. Roman's music hits. It was just amazing. And this is such a star-studded, amazing affair on this Raw, and the way they ended it with this return, and it's doing huge social media numbers. And again, right when they said, oh, it peaked, Brian, and then they just do some shit like this because Dave's a fucking clown shoes. It's just doom and gloom. It's shilling. That's the shilling and the dishonesty. Anybody who's watching WWE knows this, and who isn't just a crybaby fucking sicko. And this was, it was just an incredible Raw, capped off like a Raw. They could have just did the Cena shit, and that's it. But there was a surprise off air, and this guy's saying, like, why didn't they show this on TV? Because they kept brawling for the fans in attendance. And dude, oh yeah, this is what was crazy too. They had like the faux police officers come out, And then like Roman Reigns is spearing cops through fucking barricades and shit. Like, there's CM Punk's choking Paul to death in Minecraft with like a kendo stick, and the cops' backs are turned. It was funny when all the security came out too, like way after everyone was already fighting and shit. Like, it was just good stuff, man. It was carnage. But this was off the air. Everyone just brawling. Kendo sticks. And the way they built all of this too, where like the baby faces come out and they're just ready to fight. Like they're all hands are taped up and they're just like, we're just fighting these guys. I fucking loved it. Then they had the ring surrounded. Brock clears the ring. Roman comes back. So speaking of in attendance, right? Stephanie McMahon and her podcast co-host were shown on TV. Shane McMahon was there with his son, completely ignored on TV. They didn't show him. Just furthering the proof that there's fucking beef there. And I don't know. I think it's strange. And I think it's fucked up that you're showing Andrew Schultz like pushing JD McDonough around, which, by the way, crowd going nuts for all the celebrities booing Andrew Schultz. Andrew Schultz is the cringiest cringe motherfucker there is, dude. I'm sorry, dude. That guy is so beyond cringe. It's ridiculous. And I like that he attempts to take the wrestling shit seriously, but yeah, they're just booing him in New York. Isn't that where he's from? Like, that's shitty, man. But yeah, Shane was spotted in the crowd, like on TV, and they don't go, Shane McMahon's here. Why wouldn't you do that? I think that's crazy. But Shane McMahon goes, so good to be back home at MSG to watch John Cena final show at the Garden. They did fucking Shane dirty there, man. They did. And fucking, Andrew Schultz, dude. No pop, dude.
Exactly.
None.
No pop.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was WW. Guys, we did a 3.5 hour show. Dynamite's going long. It is late here in PWT land. It was the 200th live show. The Cam Scadaboo shove. Yeah, that's his name, Scadaboo. I think we're gonna get out of here. I think we're set for the night here. And I got to eat something. Okay. So we will do a monstrous sicko segment. I know in the title I put CM Punk gets stalked. We'll talk about that in the sicko segment on Saturday when we watch Full Gear, because we're going to be bored of a lot of that wrestling and we're going to start talking about, we're going to start doing news and stuff. So we'll just do a sicko Saturday. And I appreciate you all, man. Round of applause. Thank you for all the super chats, man. What a great night. Round of applause. Make sure you guys check out Patreon, please, okay? And I really want, I really want you guys to check out Patreon, and there will be the unedited versions of the live show. This is the last simulcast. No more simulcast. So if you're on the Times channel, again, come subscribe to the Clips channel. Guys, run those likes up to 100 as well. We better hit 100 on this motherfucker. And I love you all. Thank you for 200 live shows, man. It means the world. Thank you all so much. Thank you for over 100 PWT pods. And we're coming in with a vengeance, dude, with a furry fucking vengeance in 2026. But let's enjoy this holiday season. I can't wait to bring you the Christmas special. Dave Meltzer, Dumb Moment of the Week, live show tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, live on YouTube. and then wherever the replays are. And the replays of the live shows will be on the Times channel. It's just I'm not doing a simulcast anymore. That's all. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Until next time, I'll see you all in the Upside Down. Peace.
I look and see it's not just me.
Jeff, why do you insist on doing this dumb internet shit on TV?
I look and see it's not just me.
This place is a fucking joke, man. You're a clown. I quit.
So many of us have stood where I stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. So many of us have stood where I stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. They call us problem child. We spend our lives on trial. We walk an endless mile. We are the youth gone wild. We stand and we won't fall. We're one and one for all. The writing's on the wall. We are the youth gone wild.
No. It doesn't make logical sense, but it makes.
Well, yes, of course.
But it makes wrestling booking sense. Of course, this makes no sense. Of course, okay, it makes no sense. However, in pro wrestling booking, which often makes no sense, you would do that. It's about making money. It's not about anything else. Wrestling's always been about making money first and foremost. That's it.
I look and see it's not just me.
Last weekend was the greatest weekend in AEW history. This is the greatest week.
I look and see it's not just me.
Security, my safety, my life was in danger at a wrestling show.
So many of us have stood where I stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. So many of us have stood where I stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. They call us problem child. We spend our lives on trial. We walk an endless mile. We are the youth gone wild. We stand and we won't fall. We're one and one for all. The writing's on the wall. We are the youth gone wild. They call us problem child. We spend our lives on trial. We walk an endless mile. We are the youth gone wild. We stand and we won't fall. We're one and one for all. The writing's on the wall. We are the youth gone wild. Get wild. Yeah.
If you're familiar with how we do things often here on these Wednesdays, it's a lot like one of my favorite movies, Time Cop.
What? Fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah.